Welcome to the California Public Utilities Commission voting meeting on this day, Thursday, August 31st, 2023. Today's call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. President Reynolds, you may begin.
Good morning and welcome to the California Public Utilities Commission voting meeting. I'm calling this meeting of August 31st, 2023, public agenda number 3532 to order. We need to start by establishing a quorum. Agenda clerk, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Douglas.
Here.
Commissioner John Reynolds.
Here.
Commissioner Houck.
Here.
Commissioner Sharoma.
Here.
President Alice Reynolds.
Here. We have a quorum. Today, we're meeting at the Lake County Board of Supervisors boardroom in Lakeport, California. Welcome to everyone in the room today. And I want to thank the county and the county staff for offering the use of their facilities and for welcoming us to Lake County. We're very much appreciative of the efforts of the county. And it's really great to be here. So I do need to start with some housekeeping matters. This meeting is being live streamed at www.adminmonitor.com/ca/CPUC. For those watching the live stream, closed captioning is available in English and Spanish. To view the closed captioning, click on the green button beneath the webcast video player and follow the instructions that appear on screen. Spanish interpretation is also available during the public comment portion of today's meeting. For Spanish interpretation, dial 1-800-857-1917 and enter passcode 379-9627 pound and follow the instructions to be connected to the Spanish line. I ask that my colleagues and today's speakers speak clearly and slowly to allow for interpretation. At today's meeting, the public will have the opportunity to make public comments either in person or by telephone. If you wish to make an in-person public comment, please visit the public advisors table, which is located in the lobby, to add your name to the public comment list. If you wish to make a public comment by telephone, please dial 1-800-857-1917 and enter passcode 9899501 pound and press *1. You will be placed in a queue and the operator will take your name and information. You will then be called upon to speak when we get to the public comment period in today's agenda. Please note that if there are many callers, the wait to speak may be long. If you encounter difficulty calling into the public telephone line, please email votingmeetinghelp@cpuc.ca.gov. For those of you who are not able to provide oral public comments at today's public voting meeting, or for those of you who would like to provide more lengthy comments, you may submit written comments. Written comments can be sent to us in two ways. Via an online form found in each proceeding's online docket card, or two, directly to our public advisor's office at public.advisor@cpuc.ca.gov. For more information about providing public comments, please contact our public advisor's office, and I'll give you the email again, public.advisor@cpuc.ca.gov, or you may call 1-866-849-8390. You can also visit our website and click on the Make a Comment icon. With that, I wanted to start with a few comments before we dive into the agenda. First, to note that as our children throughout the state are returning to school and as summer nears the end, this weekend provides an opportunity to celebrate together as friends and families at picnics, barbecues, and parades, because that's because this weekend is Labor Day weekend. And Labor Day weekend is not only about the end of summer, but it's also a recognition of the many contributions workers have made to our state and nation. And underlying it all is a rich history. Labor Day is an annual celebration of the social and economic achievements of workers. The holiday stems from the labor strife of the late 19th century and the resulting labor activists who pushed for a federal holiday to recognize the many contributions workers have made in our state and the nation's strength, prosperity, and well-being. And it was back in 1894 when Congress passed a law making the first Monday in September of each year a federal holiday. At the CPUC, we're committed to supporting our diverse and dynamic workforce, whether protecting consumers and ratepayers, bringing broadband services to underserved communities, or overseeing utilities' efforts to achieve safe, reliable, and affordable clean energy. The fight for workers' protection and rights continues today in many different areas. But this weekend, let us all take a moment to recognize the contributions and achievements of all workers. Second, I would like to recognize an incident that has impacted the community here surrounding Lakeport recently. And that is my understanding that around 2 a.m. yesterday, PG&E initiated a public safety power shutoff. And that was done because of weather forecasting systems that PG&E was anticipating extremely dry and hot, windy conditions, which have historically increased the chances of catastrophic wildfires inadvertently igniting. It's my understanding that Lakeport and Lake County were impacted by this PSPS event and de-energized. And additionally, we can all see this morning, and I think yesterday too, there's some wildfire smoke in the air. So I understand that the wildfire smoke is coming from wildfires that were ignited further north in California, so not an immediate threat to the community, but still impacts this community with the air quality impacts. And the fact that we can see and smell the smoke is a reminder of how important wildfire mitigation actions are, and that we're living in a changing climate, and the risks associated with the infrastructure and utility ignitions remains high because of winds and really dry conditions. But I also want to recognize that these events have extremely serious safety impacts on the customers who are impacted, and extremely serious impacts on just ordinary activities in the way of life. And so it is also important that efforts are made to re-energize and restore power as soon as possible and as soon as it's safe to do so. I understand that from the information on the utilities website, on PG&E's website, we know there was a peak of about 4,000 customers impacted by the PSPS event, and that power has since been restored to about 90%. The anticipated restoration, according to PG&E estimates, is by noon today. At the PUC, we do work closely in monitoring all of these PSPS events, and we have a number of protocols in place that PG&E and other utilities have to follow for notification and implementation of these PSPS events. So we'll continue to work closely with public safety partners, both state and local, and the utilities to ensure that we're taking steps to minimize the use of this wildfire safety tool and to improve the outcomes and to improve any impacts on communities. So with that recognition of events surrounding us as we meet here in Lakeport today, I do want to dive into the agenda. So we're going to now go to public comment, which is the first item on our agenda. I have some instructions for public comment that I am going to start with. We will be taking in-person comments first. So for those in the room, we'll start with you, and we'll follow that by comments on the public comment telephone line. So if you are attending, just a reminder, if you're here in person and you wish to make a public comment, make sure you go to the public advisor's office table and add your name. And if you wish to make a public comment by telephone, if you've already dialed into the public comment telephone line, please press *1 and unmute your phone. The public can make comments addressing items on the consent and regular agenda today, as well as items not on the agenda. CPUC rules do not allow for parties to proceedings to speak about open proceedings. All speakers will have 1 minute to speak. You will hear a bell sound when your time is up. So I do ask that you please be mindful of other speakers waiting to speak and keep to your allotted time. We do want to get to everyone today. As a reminder, please speak clearly and slowly to accommodate Spanish interpreters. So, with that guidance in mind, I welcome today's speakers, and I'll start by calling the in-person speakers. And so, when you hear your name, please come forward to the podium, which we have right up front here. Our first speaker is Joan Moss.
Thank you very much. I have some documents for you to study. This document is listed by the Water Resources Department receptionist Kelly. And it has my public comments that I registered in preparation for the Groundwater Resources Plan, which is now law. But I believe that you need to read it because the whole document is 891 pages. We don't all get a chance to read everything. So this is for you to study and peruse. The second document is a new notice by the Groundwater Foundation. It launches a water well wish that we just received. It began August 1st. It's to put new water into dry wells that have gone dry in the last 6 years. And I wanted to read one more paragraph from the grand jury
Just a
report, but
reminder
I
that-
don't have to. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very
I'll
much.
pass it
Thank you
out.
for wrapping up. All right, our next speaker is Carol Cole Lewis.
Good morning. I'm a local solar sales rep who benefits from NEMA on my 11-acre walnut farm here in Lake County. The generating meter on our barn essentially uses no electricity and shares the generated electricity with 2 homes and a well pump. Without on-site netting for our solar, it would be like us having to buy back our own walnuts. California needs to encourage VNEM and NEMA because distributed solar systems with storage go a long way in helping California meet her renewable energy goals. In addition, distributed local solar plus storage solutions play a vital role in improving the security of our nation by reducing the possibility and effect of a catastrophic collapse of the aging national network. Please include on-site netting in VNEM and NEMA and continue to allow more farmers like me the opportunity to play our parts towards the necessary shift to renewable energy. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mark Toney.
Mark Toney, Executive Director of TURN. I'm frustrated at chronic ICOMP backlog, 200 claims, $20 million for 24 organizations. TURN has over $6 million, including $2 million over 365 days. We've exhausted a $1 million line of credit, owe $500,000 to vendors. No good reason that a well-run organization should be teetering on the verge of financial collapse. 15 interveners have sent a letter to the legislature to take action. Reassign 20 or more staff for at least 30 days to eliminate the backlog, and order 50% interim payment of any claim not resolved in 75 days. Thank you, President Reynolds and Judge Cook, for meeting with TURN earlier this week and for committing to get back to us with answers on how the CPUC plans to resolve the ICOMP backlog crisis.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ken Stout.
Thank you. I'm Ken from Clean Energy Funding Solutions, and I'm here also as a representative for CAUSA to talk about VNEM and NEM-A. And I've been fighting the NEM-A fight for many years, and I think we need you to listen to CAUSA and work together with CAUSA on a solution on VNEM, on net energy metering for VNEM and NEM-A. Because I represent hospitals, commercial businesses, school districts, farmers that have multiple meters and require VNEM or NEM-A aggregation. And this will definitely kill the business in the solar industry and the storage business. So I highly recommend that we continue trying to support California businesses and supporting NEM-A and V&M. So I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kate Schmidt-Hopper.
Good morning. My name is Kate Schmidt-Hopper. My farm has 2 solar arrays. I will remind the audience of your mission statement: to serve the public interest by protecting consumers and ensuring the provision of safe, reliable utility service and infrastructure at reasonable rates with a commitment to environmental enhancement. On-site net metering is a big incentive to home, business, farm, school, and multifamily housing developers to install solar arrays to reduce electric bills and increase green energy into the California grid. Gutting V&M, and as you have already, NM does not serve or protect consumers nor provide environmental enhancement. Instead, it supports rate increases PG&E has solicited from the CPUC to protect profits, while simultaneously undercutting Governor Newsom's stated goals of 60% renewable energy by 2030 and the expansion of multifamily housing. Please modify the proposed decision to include on-site netting so tenants and property owners, schools, and small farmers have opportunities to save costs through solar on their own rooftops and farms. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are all the speakers I have on the list today, but I will ask if there's anyone else in the room who would like to make a public comment. Okay, seeing no one approach, we'll now go to public comment on the telephone line. Operator, could you please call the first speaker?
Thank you. The public comment telephone line is now open. For those on the phone, if you wish to speak during the public comment period, please unmute your phone, press star 1, and record your first and last name slowly and clearly when prompted. Our first caller is Lindsay Horvath, Los Angeles County Supervisor. You may go ahead.
Good morning. I'm making a comment on item 30 on behalf of Los Angeles Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, a public official. Good morning, honorable commissioners. I'm Aaron Ordauer, Environmental Deputy for Lindsay P. Horvath, the Los Angeles County Supervisor for the 3rd District. Our office represents the West San Fernando Valley, including the communities of Porter Ranch, Granada Hills, Chatsworth, and others that are on the front line of the largest gas leak in American history. Our constituents are still living with the environmental catastrophe that is Aliso Canyon. Our state leaders promised a plan to permanently shut down this facility to guarantee community safety. You've had 7 years to prepare this plan, and it's unacceptable that this work is incomplete. When Supervisor Horvath took office this past winter, our office heard from many constituents facing 200 or even 300% increases in their utility bills. We know how hard this is on low-income families, and most of us are recovering from the economic shocks of the pandemic. We know that you recognize this problem, but the proposal you consider today is not a responsible solution to the problem at hand. First, there are no guarantees that this is a temporary solution, given that no end date or sunset was included. Second, there's little guarantee that this expansion will result in affordable rates for SoCal gas customers. Additionally, there are no additional protections for the safety of our communities and the natural environment. Absent these guarantees, today's proposal is moving in the wrong direction. Commissioners, I urge you to fulfill your promise and set a permanent closure date for Aliso Canyon and develop a comprehensive plan to get there. The communities surrounding Aliso Canyon deserve safety and a sense of when this nightmare will end. They've suffered through too much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is David Reinerson. You may go ahead.
Good morning. My name is David Reinerson, and I own a condominium in Tustin, about 15 miles inland from the coast where it can get quite hot. The complex has 92 units, all of which have air conditioning, and there's been widespread interest in utilizing rooftop solar to reduce the residents' electric bills that result from using the air conditioning. Their current proposal to force VNM users to sell their electricity to the investor-owned utilities at wholesale rates and then buy it back at retail rates is wrong-headed. It is the equivalent of saying Coke must sell its product to grocery stores at wholesale and then buy it back at retail to put the product in their own employee break rooms. It's unfair and in opposition to common sense and the state's clean energy goals. Please fix this proposal to make it in the interest of both the state and the residents of multifamily housing to install shared solar generation and storage. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Denise Brown. You may go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Denise Brown, and I am one of the victims of the Kincaid fire in California. I would like to know what the CPUC will or can do regarding settlements by PG&E, since it has now been 5 years since October 23rd since this fire, and I understand that there are a large number of claims undealt with. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Faith Myra. You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Faith Myra, and I live in Los Angeles. I wanted to call in because I'm against the increase of gas at Aliso Canyon, and I want the commission to shut down Aliso by 2027 at the very latest. This facility is a major health risk and a safety risk. It is still leaking, and we know that leaking of methane has made it detrimental to the climate emergency. With all the disasters happening, this is just in the last few weeks, it's irresponsible to even entertain an increase. This facility is not necessary to meet our current needs. A no vote on this increase is a vote for climate justice and for the people. And a yes vote is for SoCal gas profits. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Jessica Tovar. You may go ahead.
This is Jessica Tovar. I'm a community organizer with the local Clean Energy Alliance. I am a renter. I also grew up in public housing around several gas-fired power plants, plus other polluting sources. Many struggling families have to make a choice between paying rent and paying their bills. Our bills go up and never go down. Rooftop solar can keep the power on, the rates down, reduce pollution, and create clean energy jobs. Please don't abandon this important lifeline for our most vulnerable communities in the name of further profit to the utilities. Modify the proposed decision to include on-site netting to ensure an opportunity for tenants and property owners alike, as well as schools, small farmers, to save costs through solar on their rooftops or farms. Please modify the proposed decision to include this on-site netting so that we can all benefit from clean energy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To the people.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Barbara Stebbins. You may go ahead.
This is Barbara Stebbins. I'm urging the Commission to reject the proposed decision on virtual net energy metering, which effectively eliminates that program as a possibility, mostly for low-income residents of California. The proposal finds that virtual net energy metering is not cost-effective, mostly because of the many benefits of VNM are not quantifiable. Not effective to whom? Not quantifiable to whom, I would ask. Virtual net energy metering has been proposed as a way to provide equitable access to those who cannot install rooftop solar in their own roofs because they do not own their home or live in multi-family apartments or cannot afford the entire rooftop solar installation. Virtual net energy metering is already happening in other states and demonstrating its value.
Thank you. Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Rennie Wise. You may go ahead. Freddie Wise, your line is open. We're not able to hear you. Please check your mute button.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. And now we can't hear you. Please begin speaking.
How about now?
Now we can.
Okay, great. Hi, this is Ray Wise, and I'm a Fremont homeowner. Welcome to California, where the sun giveth and PG&E taketh away. The investor-owned utilities and the California Public Utility Commissioners are doing everything they can to eliminate incentives for solar panels and battery storage installations for multiple family housing. The CPUC just released a new proposal, copied from the IOU proposal, the GUST utility bill credits for tenants. This year, the CPUC run California's rooftop solar program for homeowners with NEM 3.0. Now the utilities are lobbying the CPUC to do the same for Californians who live in multiple family housing, cutting their cost savings from virtual net metering. This strengthens the IOU's monopoly, increases our reliance on fossil fuels, and keeps power of the rates the highest in the nation. Please modify your proposed decision to include on-site netting so that renters, schools, and farmers can benefit from local renewable energy that their own solar system generates. Let all of Californians use the most affordable natural energy resource available, the sun. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Matt Cpuc. You may go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, my name is Matt Cpuc. I'm calling as an unaffiliated resident of Los Angeles regarding item 30. Do not allow any of this unneeded storage increase at Aliso Canyon. Here's just one of many reasons why. On February 22nd, in the California State Assembly hearing, SoCalGas was asked why they used expensive open market gas that caused those price spikes that everyone is talking about and you are blindly reacting to. Their unbelievable answer was, quote, "We should have, would have, could have, in hindsight," end quote. Use the cheaper Aliso stored gas. Yeah, they actually said that. You can watch the video on the California State website. That is how they purposely mismanaged that storage facility. That was no accident. That deliberate price spike was the setup for this day. You yourselves, commissioners, have an open investigation into that exact thing. Do not honor that lying corporation's request. You and all of Southern California is being manipulated. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Bobby Britt. You may go ahead. Again, Bobby Britt, your line is open. We're not able to hear you. Please check your mute button. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Bobby Britt there.
Operator, should
Again,
we go?
Bobby Britt, you make your comment. Your line is open. Should we go to the next caller?
Yes, please, thank you.
Our next caller is Kathy Carriage. You may go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kathy Carriage from the Benicia Community Air Monitoring Program. We're opposed to any increase in capacity at Aliso Canyon. This is a dangerous facility and should be shut down. The original agreement was to shut it down by 2027. This area is now a sacrifice zone and there are cancer clusters in nearby communities. It's unsafe and needs to go. We need to incentivize clean energy. Speaking of which, I'm also against the proposed decision to tax solar on farms, schools, and apartments. Please modify the PD to include on-site netting so that schools, farms, and multi-unit buildings can benefit from solar energy. The only way California will meet its climate goals is to increase rooftop solar, not kill it, which this is designed to do. We are reaching tipping points in climate chaos and don't have the time to lose in switching to renewables. Let's put the public back in the PUC. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Travis Smith. You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Travis Smith, and I work for Citadel Roofing and Solar, a local contractor located in Sacramento. We serve home builders, developers, general contractors with roofing and solar solutions throughout the state. We employ about 750 Californians. I oversee Citadel's multifamily and commercial new construction business. As you know, developers and general contractors in California are required by code to put solar on their new construction projects. The solar mandate on these projects can add hundreds and thousands to millions of dollars in direct project costs. As from our customers and representing our customers, many of these projects are financially tight already, largely due to high interest rates. With the current virtual net metering, we often manage to finance the solar projects and help these projects become reality, providing housing and jobs. But with the proposed VNEM changes,
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Dr. Clyde Thomas Williams. You may go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Dr. Clyde Thomas Williams. I am associated with Save Porter Ranch and the Sierra Club. We're quite concerned regarding what is being proposed today and would highly recommend close Alicio down, all of it. So we've tried to do this before. I have a PhD in geology, and might say I worked for the CPUC on the Montebello and Playa del Rey facilities, and we helped close it down. CPUC closed down Montebello. Do the same for Alicio, because Alicio is in an Alquest Priola fault zone seismic area and has no provisions for withstanding a 6.7 earthquake on the Santa Susana fault line. So, thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Alan Marling. You may go ahead.
I'm a Livermore resident. President and commissioners, it's a bad sign when you move to block churches from building solar on their own roofs during an energy crisis. Kindly modify the PD to include on-site netting. Failure to do this will benefit no one and nothing except PG&E's bottom line. President Reynolds, if you pass the unmodified proposal, it will make distributed solar economically unfeasible when California needs it most. Commissioners Sharoma, Hawk, Reynolds, and Douglas, if you pass it, you'll be known for squashing small solar businesses right before Labor Day and giving PG&E more power to turn off the lights and start wildfires with their negligent greed. Of course, the commissioners were appointed by Governor Gavin Newsom. He is the source of any and all corruption. Directly and indirectly, he has accepted from PG&E $700,000, according to a 2019 Washington Post article. By now.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Michelle Theriot. You may go ahead. Again, Michelle Theriot, your line is open. We're not able to hear you. Please check your mute button.
Hi, I've been resident of Porter Ranch for 18 years, and I'm completely against any increase of methane gas storage at Aliso Canyon. And I urge you to also protect the public and vote yes on the staff proposal to close the by 2027 at the latest. The main purpose SoCal Gas wants to increase storage is to increase their profits. If they couldn't, they weren't even able to store methane here next to our homes and schools, they would still be able to deliver methane to us just like they did during the blowout in 2015. So how can increasing methane storage even be considered in the middle of our climate catastrophe? We need to be moving off of fossil fuels ASAP. Your mission statement claims that you serve the public interest, so protect us and close Aliso Canyon by 2027. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Sandra Cattell. You may go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Sandra Cattell, and I live near Aliso Canyon. I am against any increase in gas storage. During February's high spike in natural gas prices, they didn't use any of the Aliso Canyon stored gas and kept the prices high. We are in the middle of a climate crisis, and we need to follow the staff proposal and shut Aliso down by 2027. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Ellen Atai. You may go ahead.
Hi, I'm definitely against the raise of the capacity, but still, and I agree with everything Matt Duco said. I know you received a ruling just recently about this schedule of closing of an issue by 2017 and 2027, and that's supposed to make us feel better. But I want you to know that every day, week, month that this facility is in operation means more chemical exposure for the residents, more illness, more cancer, and more death. We know that you're all very smart and knowledgeable people to know all about chemicals and the lane SoCalGas is using for price gouging. I do not know what kind of legacy you want to leave for yourself, your followers, and your own kids after you leave this job. Some ask us if it's so bad, why you're still living in the neighborhood. It's not easy at my retirement age to qualify in this crazy house market, interest rates. My doctors, my community, everything is here for the last 33 years.
Could you please wrap up? Your time is up. Thank you. Thank you very much for your comment. We really appreciate it. All right, operator, let's go to the next caller.
Our next caller is Brian Yetzer. You may go ahead.
My name is Ryan Yetzer. I'm the Senior Director of Sustainability for Essex Property Trust, and I am commenting on the Cpuc proposed BNEM decision. We own and operate 192 multifamily properties containing 50,000 units across California. We produce over 10,000 annual megawatt hours on site under NEM 2 and have over 11 million square foot available of rooftop that we're evaluating under NEM 3. If the Cpuc decision passes as is, we would have no financial incentive to invest in these on-site solar investments in Cpuc markets. We also have aggressive environmental goals we're trying to hit and would have to reevaluate if we should focus our future investments in markets that provide better support for us to reach these goals. This would also lead to increased utility payments for our residents. Many of our residents are from lower to middle income brackets on the solar benefits we intend to provide them. It's imperative that on-site netting for multi-meter customers continues, or it will effectively end multifamily solar investments in these markets. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Yoko Cadino. You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kyoko Hibino, resident of Port Ranch, about I-30. I firmly oppose the increase of storage capacity at the Aliso Canyon facility. The 2015 blowout was a horrific disaster that ruined thousands of lives and left many with chronic illness, including cancer. I went through all this hell. We're sitting on a ticking bomb. And increasing the pressure have the potential for disaster again and catastrophic loss of life, according to the SoCalGas employees. We will be exposing more cash emissions. We are in the hand of SoCalGas. We can't afford to take such a gamble on the industry that already has a track record of rise after rise and putting profit over people's health and the environment. Our safety, our wallets, and our clean future deserve more, not increase the capacity and shut down Aliso Canyon permanently by 2027 latest. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is David Burdick. You may go ahead.
Hello, and thank you for allowing me to provide comments today. My name is David Burdick, and I'm a resident of Turlock, California. I've lived in California's Central Valley for the better part of the last 20 years. The past 10 of those years, I've spent my focus in my career in supporting schools and water agencies, farms, and businesses in developing solar and battery projects to reduce costs and help increase their energy resiliency. I currently work with Terra Verde Energy, where we've supported over 400 schools, many of which are in disadvantaged communities here in California, with deploying these types of solar and battery projects. About 15% of those schools, those projects were enabled through the NEM aggregation program. In light of heat waves, wildfires, and power shutoffs, families, farms, schools, and water agencies are increasingly looking for options to increase their energy resiliency through these types of projects. And unfortunately, the proposed decisions on virtual net metering and NEM would present a significant barrier.
Thank you.
I respectively to include on-site netting in VNEM and NEM going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Jeff Parr. You may go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jeff Parr. I'm the owner of Solar Technologies. We're a solar and storage installer in the Bay Area. We employ about 90 people and have installed 40 VNEM and NEMA systems over the years. The proposed decision for VNEM and NEMA would practically eliminate opportunity for apartment buildings and condo communities from installing solar panels and batteries. The NEM 3 decision has decimated the solar industry. NEM 3 sales are down 20%, down to 20% of NEM 2 levels and not recovering. Layoffs and business closures are starting. This proposed decision is even more harmful than your NEM 3 decision because it treats solar properties with multiple meters differently than it treats properties with a single meter. It forces multi-meter customers to sell energy generated on-site to the utility at wholesale rates and then buys that same power back from utilities at retail rates, robbing them of any value. We know this because utilities admit in their testimony that most of the on-site generation will be consumed on-site and never go beyond utility feeders. This is an outrageous proposal that mandates utilities rob middle income value. And on-site netting must be included in VNEM and NEMA decision moving forward.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Susanna Porte. You may go ahead. Again, Susanna Porte, your line is open. We're not able to hear you. Please
Oh, hi.
hear me.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Sorry. Okay. Hi, Commissioners. I'm calling to ask you to please preserve VNEM and NEMA. Please modify your decision to include on-site netting. Your proposal means the utilities would get exclusive control over multi-unit rooftop solar energy as soon as it's made. They would force the landlord and the tenants of the building to buy their own solar energy back from the utilities. This is simply highway robbery. It's stealing from working-class people. The utilities have more than enough money and control already. You just said today that PG&E had to shut off power to prevent wildfires. What's the best way to reduce strain on the grid and prevent wildfires? Rooftop solar. If you take VNEM and NEMA away from working-class people, rooftop solar use will plummet. We will have more strain on the grid, more blackouts, more wildfires, and more economic inequity. Is that a legacy you'll be proud of as a commissioner? Please do the right thing. Do not reward PG&E for bad behavior. Please preserve VNEM and NEMA. Modify your decision to include on-site.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Nicole No with Sonoma International. You may go ahead.
Thank you for taking the time to understand why the VNEM proposed decision eliminating property-level netting would be a travesty to over 44% of your constituents in California, your rental community. My name is Nicole No, and I work for Sonoma International. We work with multifamily developers to bring forth renewable solutions and a value proposition allowing renters who have historically been left out to benefit from a shared solar system on their apartment buildings. In the proposed decision, all generation from this shared solar system will be treated as export to the utility
and compensated at dramatically reduced export rates. Renters are then forced to buy electricity at full retail rates, 3 times the value of the export, even when their power is produced and consumed on site. This is inconsistent to your most recent NEM 3.0 decision allowing homeowners to continue on-site netting and completely discriminatory to renters by taking away any means for equity, solar adoption, and benefits of reduced electricity prices. I urge you to change the PD to on-property level netting. Without this, this will cripple the viability of solar on multifamily buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Joshua Goldstein. You may go ahead.
Thanks. My name is Joshua Goldstein. I live in Los Angeles. I urge the CPUC to reject the request from SoCalGas to increase storage limits at Aliso Canyon and instead shut Aliso Canyon down. Residents in the Porter Ranch and San Fernando Valley will suffer daily from the physical and mental effects of the SoCalGas Aliso Canyon gas blowout. They've suffered enough. Please listen to their many voices here today. Any increase in storage limits at this dangerous facility could result in yet another disaster. The residents of the area deserve to have their health and safety valued and protected. The climate emergency cannot afford any more leaks or ongoing increases in methane use. California managed its energy needs for 2 years without Aliso Canyon, and we don't need it now either. The best way to protect us as ratepayers is to stop allowing SoCalGas to poison our communities. The CPUC needs to focus on shutting this dangerous facility down, just as Governor Newsom has directed. Thanks.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Ann Harvey. You may go ahead.
I'm Dr. Ann Harvey from Oakland. Out of concern for the climate, my spouse and I converted our home and car to all electric and had solar panels installed. Since we're on NEM2, the proposed decision on virtual net metering doesn't affect me in any strictly individual way. So what drives my call is a deep concern about our shared interrelated crises of climate, affordable housing, environmental injustice, systemic racism, and extreme inequalities of wealth, income, and health. Preventing multifamily housing and the other entities from directly using the energy they generate would run counter to the state's climate, air quality, energy security, energy affordability, and housing goals. Please modify the decision to include on-site netting. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Jennifer Chamberlain. You may go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to share that my company works with public schools, hospital facilities, and communities to develop energy and resiliency solutions. These properties are complex with multiple meters and buildings, and the NEM aggregation tariffs have been critical to their installation of solar and storage projects in furtherance of the state's clean energy goals, the entity's Title 24 requirements, and the key community facilities providing community support during PSPS and other outage events, as you are experiencing in Southern California today. The proposed decision practically eliminate the opportunity for these schools and community campuses to install solar panels and batteries, risking over 11 million square feet of building space from participating in decarbonization efforts. I urge you to include on-site netting in VNEM and NEMA when customers use energy on property at the same time that it is generated on that property. It must be treated as self-generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Marilyn Bardet. You may go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is Marilyn Bardet from Benicia. I'm also on the Benicia Community Air Monitoring Program Board. I'm calling to say that you should not be allowing SoCalGas at Aliso Canyon to increase their production. This would be a monstrous offense against the community of Porter Ranch, after an explosion in 2015 has exposed them chronically to gases that are beyond their control. And this facility should be shut down, as staff recommended back when, that it should be closed by 2027. So do your job, regulators. Think of the public and public health as your greatest responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Alex Kafka. You may go ahead.
Hi,
Again,
sorry,
Alex
I just unmute.
Kafka.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Alex Kafka from Verdera Partners. We're an Oakland-based energy management consultant. My comment is regarding the NEM-B and NEM-A decision is probably different than others you heard. By ending on-site netting for multi-meter properties, the CPUC is also planning to end California's energy code mandate for high-density urban infill on-site zero-net energy buildings. That is because it is and will remain significantly more expensive to build high-rise zero-net energy buildings. And the only way to recoup those additional costs is for developers to be able to make a margin on the sale of power to tenants at the otherwise applicable service rate. This proposed decision to eliminate on-site netting will also eliminate high-density urban infill on-site zero-net energy buildings to the detriment of California's climate and housing goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Jim Stewart. You may go ahead.
I live in Long Beach, and we are all totally angry, guys, because you have no care for us living in apartments. Last year, you screwed all of the single-family homes with your NEM 3 decision, and now you want to screw everybody in apartments. Why don't you tell your dictator boss, Newsom, that you are going to care for the people and not for the shareholders? We know that Newsom tells you what to do, only care for the IOU, the shareholders, the Wall Street people that he thinks are going to contribute to his presidential campaign. Tell him, screw it, you're going to care for the people. Go, guys, we need you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Zach McMarty. You may go ahead.
Good afternoon. Calling on behalf of the proposed NEMA VNEM decision. I am asking that you guys relook at this and distinction between export and self-generation and allow on-site netting. The program as it's written today, as it is now, will not allow farmers to utilize solar if they need forward, as well as multi-level tenants, schools, and churches. So I'm just asking you to reconsider this and add in on-site netting.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Rob Hawley. You may go ahead.
Hi, this is Rob Hawley from San Jose. I'm calling to object to the discriminatory proposal for NEM for apartments, farms, etc. I have no skin in this game, but I fully support these groups. Your proposal will allow the power companies to charge these customers for their own power generation. There is no behind the meter. This all goes well beyond the already outrageous NEM 3 that you imposed on California in April. These customers should be able to benefit from the power that they paid to generate themselves. I would like to think this is merely a negotiating stance, but given what we have seen in the past, we have to take it seriously that it is the intent to discriminate against these groups. I'm calling to dissuade you of the idea that the rest of us will not stand up for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is June Bashir. You may go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, hi. I'm June Bashir, and I live in a single-family home that benefits from solar with net energy metering. And I'd like my friends who live in a multi-family housing building that does not yet have solar on their rooftop to be able to benefit from solar as well as they would like to. And the proposed decision on VNEM and NEM-A would make that more difficult. And renters already face barriers, so please don't make it more difficult for them, and please modify the proposed decision to include on-site netting. The proposed decision, otherwise as it currently is, would set us back in meeting our climate goals and would be unjust. I'm calling from Sonoma County, where we're breathing in smoke from the fires north of here. And this is a time when we need to promote more rooftop solar adoption. It's not a time to harm and set back the adoption of solar unfairly for renters and schools and farmers. So please modify the proposed.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Ryan Clausen. You may go ahead.
Oh, hi, Commissioners. My name is Brian Clausen, and I live in San Luis Obispo, California. I'm a school board member for the public school district in San Luis Obispo, which serves over 8,000 students on the Central Coast. Our school district passed a bond measure in 2022 that allows us to rebuild or refurbish 10 of our school sites, and the addition of solar was a key part of the vision for these projects. Many of our site configurations are going to require us to use virtual metering, so I'm calling today with a single request. That request is that you include on-site netting in the solution for virtual metering. As schools, most of our energy consumption occurs during daylight hours. Our solar generation has a really high overlap with our usage. It doesn't make sense to me that we would not receive full value for energy we generate that directly offsets our simultaneous usage. As drafted, we would need to cancel our solar and battery program since it would not be financially responsible for us to spend taxpayer money to deploy solar. So I'm just asking you to please reconsider site-level netting so that we can provide the benefit of solar to our local community in San Luis Obispo. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Borger Johnson. You may go ahead.
Hi. This is Borger Johnson, and I live in Oakland. I'm deeply concerned for the people that have been harmed by the leaks and blowout of methane gas from Aliso Canyon. I want the CPUC to reject SoCal Gas' request for increasing storage limits, and I want the CPUC to focus on shutting down this dangerous facility by 2027, as Newsom's administration has directed. This is necessary to protect ratepayers from the waste of additional money instead of investing it in this dangerous and failed unnecessary facility. So thanks for protecting us in California, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Greg Kicho. You may go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Fred Petro, CEO of Calcom Energy, based in Fresno, California, where we employ 90 people, serving the agricultural customers across the state. I'm calling to object to the proposed decision on virtual net metering and aggregated net metering. It would be devastating to my business and in assisting customers who want to do their part in investing in solar energy and energy storage and are committed to clean and sustainable energy sources. Customers should be allowed to generate and consume electricity in real time from their on-site solar systems and or battery. If energy is generated on-site and used on-site, it should be considered on-site self-consumption. To create a standard for the ag community that is different from the standard for single-family homeowners runs counter to everything the state of California stands for. We should be simplifying the path to renewable energy for businesses and organizations such as mine and my ag customers, not making it difficult or near impossible. Please modify the decision by applying lower export rates only to energy that is actually exported from by other customers. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Beverly Borata. You may go ahead.
Hi. I am a local resident, very, very close to Aliso Canyon, and I definitely am against any increase in storage. It's just ludicrous to me that in earthquake country, at a time when they're phasing out gas, I just don't understand why they would even consider it. Also, follow the dollars. Why did I get a huge gas bill compared to all of my others? And when suddenly they had to come up with the money to pay out their claim. So nothing's making sense. And by the way, north of Beverly, I'm better known as Lori O'Rada. I am a local realtor, and we were impacted personally and economically. Definitely hurt prices in the area, and we just don't need any more danger sitting in our backyard. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Pam Rude. You may go ahead. Again, Pam Rude, your line is open. We are not able to hear you. Please check your mute button.
Hi, I'm Pam Rude in San Diego. I was fortunate in that I was able to have solar panels installed just before mid-April of this year when net metering was significantly reduced with the support of this board. This disincentive for people considering solar panels is creating a division between those of us with solar panels and their benefits, especially to our environment, and those who can no longer afford to invest in solar panels. Now, your current proposed decision, largely copied from the investor-owned utility monopolies proposal, targets renters, anyone living in multifamily housing, farmers, and schools. They would be blocked from economically using their own solar energy, thereby creating yet one more division among Californians, in that renters would be worse off than solar customers in single-family housing. This proposed decision is one more step in the utility monopolies' efforts to kill the solar industry and enhance their profits. We need to finally oppose this effort for the public good and our environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Liz Campos, Ventura City Council. You may go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm calling to ask you to not expand or allow the expansion by SoCalGas of the Aliso Canyon storage facility. We've had about 15 different studies from universities all around the world in the last year expressing how dangerous the burning of methane gas in the home is. We know that it's time that we get away from methane gas and all fossil fuels. It's the policy of the state. So it would behoove the CPUC to not only shut down Aliso Canyon, but to shut down or to slow down building an expansion of all toxic gas facilities. I thank you all for not just hearing us today, but listening carefully. People are dying and human health is being very badly affected. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Eugene G. You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Eugene Chi, and I'm calling about solar and the NEM 3 ruling. About my background, I'm a real estate developer building multifamily properties in the North San Diego County, a high cost of living area. Currently, I'm planning a green building multifamily project where under NEM 2.0, I could recoup some of my expenses and pass those savings on to tenants in the form of lower electricity costs. I was quite surprised when I heard about NEM 3.0 recently that any power generated is only being credited at 8 cents an hour, while tenants are being charged 6 to 7 times more for power to inset power storage through expensive batteries. To provide some perspective, a small solar system with a Tesla Powerwall for one unit at today's interest rates adds $200 to the monthly rent. A small 3-bedroom market rate unit in this area already costs $3,000 to $3,500 per month. To conclude, the goal of solar should be to reduce the tenant's utility and housing expenses and not increase them. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Scott Peedy. You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Scott Peedy. I'm a vice president with Prologis. I'm commenting on the proposed decision affecting NEM A and BNEM. Prologis is a global logistics real estate business, and we own 981 properties in California, 1/3 of which are located in disadvantaged communities. We're also the second largest owner of on-site commercial solar in the country. We host hundreds of small businesses in multi-tenant buildings across the state, and we help them meet their net zero goals by developing rooftop solar projects. We rely on programs like DNEM and NEM8 to serve these businesses. I'm very concerned with the proposed decision. By eliminating on-site netting and imposing export rates on 100% of the output from aggregated systems, this decision will significantly disadvantage small businesses in multi-tenant buildings and make these projects no longer feasible. I urge that we maintain on-site netting for NEM8. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Horowitz. You may go ahead.
Good morning, President Reynolds and Commissioners. Sasha Horowitz with the Los Angeles Unified School District. As we stated in our letter regarding the NEMA proposal, California's public schools, community colleges, and universities use on-site solar and storage to manage their difficult finances so they can target their limited resources toward their community-based mission. Local education agencies cannot raise product prices to cover increases in operating expenditures. Increases in energy expenditures directly reduce funding for educational services. Rising energy costs take money directly out of our classrooms. The proposal would make it economically unfeasible for schools, community colleges, and universities to install solar and storage. We urge the Commission to reject those proposals and ensure the next version of NEMA include property-wide netting so that schools can benefit from the local renewable energy that their own solar systems generate. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Jason Pearson. You may go ahead. Again, Dave Pearson, your line is open.
Hi, James Pearson. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Hi, I'm James Pearson. I live in Gilroy, California. I'm under NEM 2, so I'm not personally affected by this proposed decision, but it seems crazy to me that when we need all the renewable energy we can get, we keep trying to disincentivize those who would like to use it with distributed energy. And certainly use of the energy generated on their own property seems ludicrous if we can't do that. So please reject this proposed decision or amend it so that we do have net metering and CNAP. Also shut down Alviso Canyon. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Emily. You may go ahead.
Hello. I am a renter in a multifamily unit in California, in Oakland. I have rooftop solar, and I benefit from on-site netting. And I'm calling to ask you to modify the PD to include that on-site netting so that me and other neighbors can continue or start benefiting from local renewable and affordable energy in the form of rooftop solar. What especially galls me about the potential change in the rules, aside from my costs drastically going up, is that this will increase barriers to rooftop solar at a time when we not only need all the renewable energy that we can get, but also when big companies are trying to decrease the benefits of solar by building giant solar farms on areas that are critical habitats for endangered species. We need to have rooftop solar where it is not going to cause farther harm, and that is on rooftops, over farms, on parking lots, and in other already disturbed places.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Melanie Cohen. You may go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Melanie Cohen. I'm a Save Porter Ranch supporter, Food and Water Watch member, and I want to say that I'm against any increase of gas at Aliso Canyon. And please vote yes on the staff proposal to close, that's right, close Aliso Canyon by 2027 at the latest. You know, we've been futzing around with this since 2015 when that time bomb hurt hundreds of thousands of people and can continue to do so. You will be reviled as the Use the People as Fodder Commission if you don't shut down Aliso Canyon now. It needs to go. Wake up, smell what's ever left, because we're burning here in California. We need to change now. I'm not friendly today because I've had enough, and so have been hurt. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Bill Woodbridge. You may go ahead.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Bill Woodbridge. I'm in Santa Barbara. I'm a renter. The CPUC proposed decision is in complete contradiction to the state's goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. This bad proposal would close the door on incentives for installing rooftop solar on multifamily apartment buildings, condominiums, farms, and schools across the state. It would drive up the cost of housing and saddle already overburdened school districts and farmers with skyrocketing utility bills. It's bad enough that inciting with the utilities' interest rather than the public's interest, you recently reduced the credits homeowners will receive for feeding excess solar energy back into the grid. But this proposal would make renters even worse off than solar customers in single-family housing. Please amend this decision to allow local, affordable, renewable energy to grow by way of rooftop solar incentives, not shrink the growth. You are supposed to represent the interests of the people of the state, not the greedy utility companies you work for. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Jackie Tedesco. You may go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity to provide comments. My name is Jackie Tedesco of Avalon Bay, a multifamily owner of over 100 properties, including over 30,000 apartment homes here in Northern and Southern California. Our primary concerns around the VNEM changes include no incentive to invest in solar. The current proposal creates a significant disincentive for solar investment by owners such as us, due to the lack of on-site netting and live usage offset recognition. Previously, under NEM 2.0, solar was a viable option for resident savings and a reasonable investment payback. The current PD now makes solar just a regulatory obligation, not an incentivized choice, which seems in conflict with the goal of increasing on-site.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Daniel O'Connell. You may go ahead.
Hello, my name is Daniel O'Connell, and I'm a fifth-generation California farmer and cattle rancher. Agriculture is one of the cornerstones of our economy. It's one of the only industries that basically pays retail for everything and only gets a wholesale price for our product. In addition to historic droughts and the recent freezes, we've been hit by extreme costs of inputs, and our only way to hedge against our electrical costs is solar, to be both environmentally and financially stable. Because the majority of agriculture is seasonal, we are highly dependent on the export credits and can't utilize batteries. The proposals under consideration will destroy the economic stability of solar for our seasonal pumps and processors, will result in the demise of agriculture, which hurts not only the farmers, the supporting businesses, communities, but will also raise the cost of food for everyone and put our food security at risk. Please rule against the proposed NEMA changes in their present form and continue to support on-site netting of solar production and customer-sided distributed energy. The possibility of solar for seasonal users. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Alice Sung. You may go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm Alice Sung, longtime schools architect and evolving working group leader here to defend climate justice for our 6 million public school children and future grandchildren. I urge you to reject and or modify the NEMA-VNEM proposal that would eliminate on-site netting for multiple metered properties, especially K-12 schools, community colleges, and universities, for 3 reasons. 1, only about 5 to 10% of our 10,000 plus schools have any significant solar currently under NEM2. Those have multiple meters. The vast majority of all public schools and college campuses have multiple meters. 2, this proposal will perpetuate the current inequity between wealthier solar haves and all the have-nots, just as the California State Building Code mandates solar on all buildings, including public schools and colleges. 3, in the face of current massive public funding, yes, yours and my tax dollars for solar schools to meet our goals, this is clearly a distributed energy resources grant to perpetuate shareholder profits over our public good. Please vote your conscience and vote no on eliminating on-site netting for schools, renters, and other multiple metered community facilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Maureen. You may go ahead. Your line is open.
Hi, my name is Maureen Capra. I live in Porter Ranch, about a mile from that well that blew. I've lived here 49 years, and it's been sick from it. I've seen everything, the huge mudslides up there and everything. I want Aliso Canyon closed now. There's no reason for it to be open. It needs to be shut down now. Not later, now. Governor Newsom said he would shut it down, so I'm hoping. And you are a representative of the public. You need to shut it down. You're hearing the public all day. Please listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Mark Schlossberg. You may go ahead.
Yeah, hi, this is Mark Schlossberg with Food and Water Watch. It's really outrageous that 8 years after the Aliso Canyon gas blowout, it still is not shut down. And it's even more outrageous that we're talking about a consideration of an increase in use of this dangerous, polluting, and poisoning facility. Governor Newsom pledged that he was going to shut down Aliso Canyon. Instead, we're talking about potentially increasing its use. You guys need to really act to expedite the shutdown of Aliso Canyon, protect the community, protect people over profits. Don't fall for this SoCal gas scheme to increase storage at this facility that should have been shut down years ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Sue Chow. You may go ahead.
Hi, I am Dr. Sue Chow from the San Francisco Bay Area. Please modify the proposed decision so that renters in multifamily housing, schools, and farmers can benefit from local, renewable, and affordable energy in the form of rooftop solar. Such an on-site metering tariff should, at a minimum, enable these groups to benefit from the local renewable energy that their own solar systems generate. To take away this right would not only contribute to climate change by undermining incentives for clean energy, but will also exacerbate the extreme income inequality in our country. You need to do what you were appointed to do, which is to advocate for the public good. You need to stop advocating for companies that prioritize profits over people and our planet.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Marjane Moyni. You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Marjane Moyni. I'm a physician. I'm on the board of SFA Physicians for Social Responsibility. Climate change is the biggest public health crisis we have ever faced. We can't hide away from it. We can't shelter in our homes. Our forests are burning now. Our neighborhoods are next. Transitioning away from fossil fuels and expanding renewable, non-polluting energy is an urgent public health issue. Please do not increase the capacity of Aliso Canyon and shut it down as quickly as possible. This is a health equity and public health issue. Expanding rooftop solar is a public health issue. Please modify the proposed decision to include on-site netting for schools, multifamily housing, and farms. No one should have to choose between paying for their medications, for their rent, and paying their utility bill. Please advocate for the public. Californians, particularly overburdened communities and the youth, need you to advocate for the public and urgently protect public health. Please put public health at the center of your...
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Darius Assemi with Granville Home. You may go ahead.
Okay.
Again, Darius Assemi, your line is open. You may go ahead. And look, it appears she has dropped. Our next caller is Neil Reisman. You may go ahead.
Hi, I'm Neil Reisman. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. So I'm a resident of Porter Ranch and am calling today to urge that the capacity of Aliso Canyon not be expanded. And I'm also calling to urge that Aliso Canyon be closed at the latest by 2027. I'm surprised, to be honest, it's still here, and the dangers of earthquakes, additional leakage, and other things, cause a great health and safety hazard to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Julie Kornstein. You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Julie Kornstein. I'm a retired Board of Education member, LAUSD. Let me begin by saying that I am against any increase of gas at Aliso Canyon, and I want the Commission to vote yes on staff's proposal to close it by 2027 at the latest. I moved into the Porter Ranch area over 45 years ago. We knew nothing about the gas company storage of over 80 billion cubic feet of natural gas in the hills behind our homes and schools. We knew nothing until the massive methane explosion that affected our lives forever. We live in a geographic seismic area where there are two fault lines. The Northridge earthquake, which you probably remember, caused massive damage and loss of lives. We are also in a fire zone. We have been evacuated numerous times. One of the fires was actually caused by the gas company. We feel like we are living with a hydrogen bomb about to go off at any home. I implore you, please do not increase the capacity. Please close it down. It's safety of the children in our schools in our area that are adjacent to the Aliso Canyon. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Beverly Deschaux. You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Beverly Deschaux. I am a low-income, disabled senior citizen on a fixed income. And this proposal is outrageous. Well, this is completely opposite to anything that the state goals represent as far as reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. And what a scam. You get people to buy their own solar with the agreement that they will be able to take advantage of that. And then instead, the IOUs take it and make them pay more for it. What is equitable about that? That is not okay. I urge you to please block this, or at least amend this VNEM NEM-A proposal. We have enough, with increasing solar on roofs, we have enough to sustain our grid and not have it be going down. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Assad Al-Majjar. You may go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Assad Al-Majjar from Porter Ranch, and I kindly ask you to consider that we shut down Aliso Canyon by 2027 or before that. Also, I would like to ask for your vote against the expansion. We don't need the Aliso Canyon in the backyard, and It's been a danger to all our health for our families. And this is the time where we ask your support to our community. So just let's shut it down and vote no on the expense. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Dee Wu. You may go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Yeah, my name is Jean Wu. I live in Berkeley, and I'm affiliated and on the board of NorCal Solar, and I have a company called Custom Power Solar, and we advocate for solar plus battery storage to reduce greenhouse gases. The proposed decision should be altered and allow for net on-site metering, because this actually deprives all people who live in multifamily housing and for those schools and agricultural sites that need to have the NEM-A and also the VNEM be able to use those sites to produce power and use them on site. There is only, I think, a few technical issues that need to be considered, and the Commission should order the utilities to come up with responses so that they can do NEM-A and VNEM properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Kathy Rollins. You may go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Kathy Rawlings, and I'm in the district. And I'm calling today to urge you to reject and abandon this proposed decision around net metering, specifically for schools. We've invested millions of taxpayer dollars into our solar system, and this is generating hundreds of thousands of dollars a year back into our classrooms. In addition, our taxpayers we're depending upon getting this investment return. If you take this away from those taxpayers, this won't only affect them, but it'll also affect our students and our communities. Our schools generate a ton of renewable energy for our communities when schools are not in session and during summertime. So it's really important for you to stand up for our public schools and not for the for-profit energy companies. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Janice Nardella. You may go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. My name is Janice Nardella, and I live in Porter Ranch right next to Aliso Canyon Storage Facility. I've lived here for over 27 years. I am against any increase of gas in Aliso Canyon Storage Facility. I want the Commission to vote yes on the staff proposal to close Aliso Canyon Storage Facility by 2027 at the latest. They operated with lower gas capacity and artificially raised rates when they did not even use the gas they had in the facility. They don't need to increase the gas storage and endanger the health of many families and school children just to make a profit. My family all got very sick during the gas facility blowout. We continue to feel effects of the gas leakage on a regular basis. We have to stay indoors with our windows and doors closed and our air cleaners running 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's especially bad for us when they inject or withdraw gas, as much gas leakage occurs during that time. My son got extremely ill when 7 years old from the gas injection and withdrawal from the facility. Please do not let them increase the gas storage. Please vote staff proposal to close by 2027. Make our health a priority over the wealth of a large corporation. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Tina Fredericks. You may go ahead.
Hi, I'm Tina Fredericks, a board member of Pasadena Unified School District, serving 14,000 K-12 students spanning Pasadena, Altadena, and Sierra Madre. Our district has been a leading voice in addressing the climate emergency that threatens the health, safety, and well-being of the students and families of our district. We have already installed solar panels in 12 out of 25 schools and intend to build more. The opportunity to save on electricity costs translates to several $1 million in savings annually. With the ongoing budget cuts, millions in savings means being able to invest into classroom resources and pay our teachers and staff a living wage and raises they deserve. I'm also the president of Los Angeles County School Trustees Association, a coalition of nearly 100 K-12 school districts and community colleges across LA County, the largest county in California. Our organization's board convened a special meeting to approve the resolution, which urges the CPUC and governor to reject the recent virtual net energy metering proposed decision for multi-meter properties, as it will prevent the ability of schools to gain the benefits and direct cost savings of local, renewable, and affordable energy through rooftop solar and battery storage, and urge instead CPUC to approve a net energy metering that includes full credits and savings for multifamily tenants in schools for customer-generated energy. I'm also a mother of 2 girls and trying to protect their future and generations to come. Commissioners, do the right thing. Listen to what all public comments unanimously are saying. Their chance of livable future is in your hands. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Andrea Barnier. You may go ahead.
Good afternoon. Self-help enterprises provide multifamily affordable housing throughout 8 counties in the San Joaquin Valley. We rely on VNEM to connect our low-income families with renewable energy and to ensure our housing communities are affordable, sustainable, and resilient. The changes to VNEM in the decision would jeopardize our ability to achieve these goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Marcia Hanscom. You may go ahead.
Hey, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you. Marcia Hanscom with the Bioweapons Institute. I'm calling on you to back up the original promise of Governor Gavin Newsom to close the Aliso Canyon gas storage facility and to not authorize any increase of the amount of methane gas that would be stored there. I understand that the CPUC had a closed session meeting on this topic for this week, and while you're allowed to have those closed session meetings, you were required to report out to the public what was discussed and whether or not any actions were contemplated. All actions need to be taken in public and revealed to the public, so please do that. Methane gas is one of the biggest contributors to climate change impacts according to recent scientific studies, and we need to stop using methane gas, not make approvals for using more of it. Also, please close down this gas storage facility. Do not authorize any more where people are still suffering from the impacts. And while we're on the topic of methane gas storage, please begin the process for closing the Playa del Rey gas storage facility, which has been determined by the CCST to be the most state. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Teresa Brady. You may go ahead.
How can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I live in Moore Park, and I want you to shut down the Aliso Canyon storage. The application to increase storage at Aliso and instead focus on. Okay, sorry. The CPUC's willingness to expand gas storage at Aliso is an insult to the thousands of community members whose lives were and continue to be impacted by the blowout. Sorry. We already know that we do not need the facility to maintain reliability. For 2 years after the gas blowout, Aliso Canyon was under strict regulations and withdrawals were not permitted unless in the case of an emergency. The SoCal region faced 0 blackouts or gas supply shortages as a result of Aliso Canyon being offline. I have one more thing to say.
Could you please conclude your comment? Your time is up.
Yes, I want to finish this sentence. True reliability is not relying on an aged and dangerous gas system that is vulnerable to severe loss of containment incidents from earthquakes, wildfires, and mudslides. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Cheryl Gale. You may go ahead. Again, Cheryl Gale, your line is open. We're not able to hear you. Please check your mute button. And should we go to the next caller?
Yes, thank you, operator.
Our next caller is Andrea Vega. You may go ahead.
My name is Andrea Vega. I'm a resident of the San Fernando Valley, and I'm calling to urge the commissioners to oppose the request from SoCalGas on increasing storage limits at Aliso Canyon and to instead shut the facility down. The commission already approved an expansion of Aliso back in 2021 after SoCalGas gave the same excuse about needing to increase storage so that gas rates would go down. SoCalGas lied. Ratepayers ended up paying double and up to 4 times as much this past winter than what they paid the previous year because SoCalGas mismanaged their storage supply. You should be investigating SoCalGas for price gouging instead of rewarding them for their irresponsibility and greed. Expanding Aliso has nothing to do with protecting ratepayers. SoCalGas does not care about lowering people's bills. They only care about their profits, and they profit off of poisoning the San Fernando Valley. Aliso is not safe, like you heard from dozens of residents, and it's completely unnecessary. After the blowouts, the state implemented mitigation measures.
Thank you.
Shut the facility.
Thank you for your comment. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Susan Dembowski. You may go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi, I live in LA. Last year's destructive blows to rooftop solar and M3 for homeowners did anything but encourage increased development of this very valuable source of clean, renewable energy. So at insult to injury, the CPUC's present proposed VNEMA decision guts incentives for residents of multifamily dwellings, largely lower-income residents in working-class areas, to manage their energy bills through rooftop solar. Also overloads schools and farms with unaffordable energy bills, not to mention renters of newly constructed multiple dwellings whose developers are required to install solar. Whether regular affordable units, energy bills, and rents will rise. I was quite naive to believe that the interest of ratepayers was of value. I now have no doubt that what matters is the interest of the investor-owned utilities. They in the state appear to care only about encouraging long-distance transmission lines, which bring the destruction of sensitive habitats, as well as produce deadly and destructive wildfires, which leave ratepayers to foot continuously rising energy bills. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Mark Bruce, Sustainable Energy, Inc. You may go ahead.
Thank you. Mark Roos, Director of Marketing and International Development, Sustainable Energy, Inc., and advisor, Silicon Valley Clean Cities Coalition. I live in San Mateo and rent in a multifamily property. I would like to put up enough solar to power both my building and vehicle use, but it won't be economic for me if the utilities have their way. Please modify the PD to include on-site netting so that people like me and schools and farms can fully benefit from local, renewable, and affordable energy in the form of rooftop solar. Such a tariff should, at minimum, include on-site netting. Since stationary batteries are still quite expensive, we are still in development of our battery and solar technology. I would initially need to use the grid for free or very inexpensive storage. Utilities proposals will destroy that option by buying my electricity cheap and selling back to me high. There's no public policy excuse for this. You need to comply with your own stated public policy reason for existence. Don't give another wealth transfer to the utilities. The proposed decision is discriminatory. It would deprive multifamily housing tenants or homeowners.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Anna E. You may go ahead.
Hi, I saw agenda item number 14 about high-speed rail authority. No one is going to want to take a high-speed rail from Bakersfield to Modesto. Why do you entertain any ideas, use any taxpayer-paid time on the HSR authority? They have wasted billions of dollars, and they aren't even honoring what we voted on in 2008. Number 2, between 2014 and 2023, retail electricity bills from SDG&E here in Southern California has risen 104% since 2020. Electricity inflation is up 45.9%. Please do not vote to allow the utilities to raise this for 2024. And closed-door meetings about rates looks shady. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Crystal Riesel. You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Crystal Riesel, and I represent the Bay Area Clean Air Coalition as their administrator. Please modify the proposed solar decision to include on-site netting so that everyone can benefit from having clean solar. This proposed decision is discriminatory. Rooftop solar can save multifamily tenants as much as $50 a month. We absolutely need clean, renewable energy to grow, to change the trajectory our climate is on as much as possible. Every decision we make now matters more than decisions made later. These decisions improve the quality of life and definitely save lives. The smoke we have now in California can definitely get much worse. Rooftop solar also reduces real-time air pollution, especially in areas that face worse air pollution. Please include on-site netting for tenants, for schools, and for small farmers. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Andrew Dawson. You may go ahead.
Hi, I'm Andrew Dawson with the California Housing Partnership. The partnership is a state-created private nonprofit whose mission it is to increase the supply of affordable homes, low-income people. Our main concern is about housing. We agree with many of the comments that support equitable and single-family. I would also setting is prohibitive to install solar storage. And we need solar storage in multi-family buildings without. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
And before we go to the next caller, if you would like to make a comment, please unmute your phone, press star 1, and record your first and last name slowly and clearly when prompted. Our next caller is Linda Hudson Knowles. You may go ahead.
Yes, hi. My name is Linda Hutchins Knowles. I'm a co-founder of Mothers Out Front Silicon Valley and co-leader with the EV Charging for All Coalition. I'm calling today to ask you to take 2 actions. First, please do not allow SoCalGas to increase their production of methane gas. This would be a slap in the body to the community of the Porter Ranch, who've endured 8 years of residual effects from the huge methane blowout. It would be a betrayal of the governor's proposal and staff recommendation to close Aliso Canyon by 2027. Please prioritize public safety, health, and environmental justice. Deny SoCal's request. Second, regarding the proposed VNEM decision, do not block renters, farms, and schools from getting solar. It's completely unfair to prevent these groups from having the opportunity to install solar and storage. Rather than discriminating against them, you should be making it easier and more favorable terms. This is yet another incident of the state of California creating a 2-tier system. Family residents from installing solar. You are reinforcing structural racism since the residents of apartments and condos, especially people of color and low-income communities. Please stop the 2 tiers, act for equity, regulate the IOUs, do your job, and act in the public interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Jeff Smith. You may go ahead.
Yes, I'm Jeff Smith from Caldera. President Reynolds and commissioners, thank you for the time to speak. And I'm going to talk about general rate case, what can be done to limit future increases to the cost of living index or to a inflation index. The double-digit increases have really put the customers in great strain. And what leads me to this is that in October, on clean tariffs, October of this year, PG&E is forecasting a 39% increase in the transportation rate. And so much folks have been placed on the market rate of gas. We pay the market rate, which is a very small portion, now 20 to 40%, plus the transportation and PPP charge. They're raising this by 39% in October. And this is just not sustainable. And there will be back to the situation in February 2023 when I attended a hearing about the gas price of heating the cost of PD Plus is experiencing. So I appreciate what you can do to support us next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Larry Toronto. You may go ahead.
It's Barry Toronto. I'm calling to urge you to support the rehearing request of San Francisco City Attorney David Chu and the city agencies he represents. The difference between the decisions you made regarding autonomous vehicles versus the TNCs is that it impacts only one city and the ability of other vehicles and other workers to use the roadways. I am very much concerned that your decision 3 weeks ago was a huge mistake. A lot has happened in the last 3 weeks, and I hope you will take the time to review what's happened and the impact that they've had on the ability of others to use the roadway safely and properly. Last thing is that about the TNCs. I am very much concerned that the TNC drivers, we don't have a way of complaining about them like we do with taxi drivers. You call 311 and file a complaint, but there's no easy to complain about them. They use the taxi stands. They use the transit lanes. They're really horrible out there on the streets. We need your help on being able to report them properly to the app that oversees their operation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Lori Avazian. You may go ahead. Again, Lori Avazian, your line is open. We're not able to hear you. Please check your mute button.
My name is Lori Avazian. I'm a 23-year resident of Porter Ranch. We live 1.5 miles from the gates of Aliso Canyon. My family's house was horribly impacted by the blowout 8 years ago, and we continue to feel effects to this day from the continued operation of this dangerous facility, which doesn't even have working shutoff valves on its 110 ancient wells. I'm strongly against any increase in the amount of gas stored at Aliso Canyon. I urge the Commission to vote yes on the staff proposal to shut down the facility by 2027 at the latest, as Governor Newsom directed. I find it unfathomable that the Commission would even consider allowing SoCalGas to increase storage levels at Aliso Canyon after they quadrupled our rates last winter, while not even using the gas in storage at Aliso, while market rates were so high. If they didn't use the stored gas to mitigate rate spikes when Aliso Canyon was 40% full, why do they need to fill it to 100%, claiming this will lower rates?
Thank you.
Aliso Canyon.
Thank you for your comment. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Victor Flores. You may go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Victor Flores. I am a condo owner in a unit building in Oakland. The community is thinking about sustainability by installing solar and EV charging, but the proposed decision on VNEM would make this infeasible while leaving us vulnerable to price hikes from facilities. The current proposal is a good example of inequitable treatment for those of us who live in such housing. We can't meet our climate goals with policies like this. So all we're asking is for a fair shot to do our part in this climate crisis. Please modify the proposed decisions to the on-site. Multifamily housing, schools, and small farmers should have the opportunity to add solar. We're counting on you to advocate for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Erin Norwood with the Almond Alliance. You may go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Erin Norwood on behalf of the Almond Alliance, representing the 7,600 growers and 100-plus processors of almonds in California. As you've heard today, the proposed decision would effectively eliminate the NEMA program and on-site netting for agricultural customers. NEMA presently affords agricultural customers with an important, effective means for installing clean energy products that help manage energy use and costs while avoiding or reducing environmental impacts. Effectively eliminating NEMA at a time when the agricultural industry is faced with increasing renewable energy mandates And while vehicle and equipment electrification mandates mount for agriculture customers is extremely harmful. Without NEMA, farmers like ours would be required to install a separate solar system on every meter they wish to offset energy purchases from their utility. Besides being incredibly inefficient and more expensive, the elimination of NEMA creates additional consequences for the almond industry. From precision irrigation systems, which have reduced almond water use by 55%, to the transition to electric fleets of on-farm vehicles, the inability to produce and aggregate energy production farmers from achieving sustainability in energy, water, air quality, and carbon sequestration, putting 110,000 employees at risk, as well as the species, resources, rural communities, and consumers we are pledged to protect. For these reasons, we strongly encourage the Commission to revise the proposed decision to allow for on-site netting. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Chirag Bhakta. You may go ahead. Your line is open.
Hi, thank you. I'm with Food and Water Watch, and I'm asking you to vote against the proposal to increase the gas storage limit at Aliso Canyon, put forth by SoCal Gas. I want to echo the demands of community members of the Porter Ranch area. You need to close it down. Gas storage increase at Aliso Canyon will only increase SoCal Gas's wealth and profits at the expense of public health. As you've heard from numerous callers, the community living near this dangerous facility is still suffering the aftermath of the largest methane gas blowout in United States history. SoCal Gas is falsely claiming that an increase in gas storage capacity is intended to protect ratepayers. We know that they can't be trusted to act in good faith to protect their ratepayers, as they've never done so in the past. It's time to heed the calls and demands from numerous elected officials, the directive from Governor Newsom, thousands of community members in the Porter Ranch area and the Valley, and millions of us in California who have been demanding for years to shut down Aliso Canyon. Vote perpetuate environmental injustices, and you need to deny this increase and start the work to shut Aliso down. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Ed Hernandez. You may go ahead.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Ed Hernandez. I'm District Director and Vice Chair of the Eden Health District. I speak on my own behalf, committed to improving the health outcomes of over 400,000 residents in the Eden area of San Leandro, Hayward, Cache Valley, and nearby unincorporated communities. With the increase of cost of housing, groceries, we cannot increase the cost of keeping the lights on. As much of the population here are renters, and they depend on having affordable utilities, and it can be as much as $50 for families with these increased costs. We have to pair our utilities with batteries and rooftop solar to reduce those costs and protect renters from blackouts. Please modify the decision to keep on-site netting, ensuring an opportunity for tenants and property owners alike, as well as schools and small farmers to save costs through solar on their own rooftops or farms, benefiting from the local renewable energy that their own solar system generates. The bottom line is rooftop solar and batteries are the only proven way for Californians to cut their energy bills and protect them from blackouts. Seeing them is the only way to deploy clean batteries to at-scale multifamily homes. We applaud your leadership in maintaining California as a global leader and achieving high renewable energy goals.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Nancy Hernandez. You may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Nancy Hernandez. My family and I are victims of the Aliso Canyon flood 2015-2016. That was the largest disaster of its kind in the history of our nation. LA County Department of Public Health was assigned to administer the $25 million health study conducted by UCLA. I'd like to know what you all think of the results. Well, none of you can answer, because that question cannot be answered because that study has not been completed. In fact, it's almost 8 years later and is still in the beginning stages. It is absolutely ludicrous that anyone would consider increasing the storage at this dangerous facility. None of you can prove it's safe. Department of Public Health, OEA, UCLA cannot prove it's safe. Do the right thing. I know how your vote's going to go, and you will choose profit before human health, because that is who you all are. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Sam Davis with the Oakland School District. You may go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Yes, I'm Sam Davis. I'm on the board of the Oakland Unified School District, and just wanted to urge you to include on-site netting in the proposed decision on energy metering. We passed a resolution unanimously at our board to this effect, and I really in concurrence with the comments from my colleagues from Los Angeles Unified and Pasadena Unified. I'm on the facilities committee overseeing $735 million bond. We're investing in facilities across our district, and we are committed to addressing climate change and moving towards carbon neutrality. And so we have rooftop solar in all of our major projects, but the proposed decision would impact our ability to make those cost effective, and that basically takes dollars out of the classroom, and that impacts students in our schools because, utilities are general fund expenses. And I sympathize with your situation. I've been in, and so I just advise you to ask you to make the right decision and think about how you'll look in history when people look back at this moment. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Patty Glick. You may go ahead.
Thanks. I'm Patty Glick. I'm in opposition to any increase of gas at Aliso. I want this hazardous site to close down as soon as possible. You commissioners met behind closed doors on Monday to decide our fate, but none of you are living under the sword of Damocles that has the gas company's blood on it. The next earthquake, the next fire, the next time you go to see your doctor and hear those fateful words, you have cancer. This is what we're facing on a daily basis. We are the sacrifice zone so that SoCal Gas can enrich their pockets. You don't have to worry about your families, but we do. Maybe you should read that CCST report that was entered into the record for this proceeding back in 2018, which talks about the health and safety risks because of Aliso for the 2 million people who live in the San Fernando Valley. And every person who has called in about Aliso today has wanted that closed down and not expanded by any more increase. So please listen to that. And also protect rooftop.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Vanessa Marrero. You may go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm a mom of 3 kids, and I serve as a Berkeley Event Board Commissioner and as an Executive Director for a national parent organization. I've been living in my multi-purpose, multi-family property for 18 years, and I would like to go solar, but I can't because of this proposed decision. Please modify the decision, proposed decision to include on-site netting so that people like me who serve the public every day can benefit from the local renewable and affordable energy in the form of rooftop solar. Such a tariff would be at a minimum on-site netting. With overwhelming number of Black and brown people that live in multifamily homes, such as myself, because I'm a Latina, this proposed decision is discriminatory, and it's a sure strategy of structural racism. It would deprive people like me and these multifamily housing tenants and in school savings on their energy. I ask you to please consider this proposed decision and make it equitable for all people in California. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Sarah Ruse. You may go ahead.
Thanks. My name is Sarah Ruse. I'm the chair of the Children's Caucus of the California Democratic Party, speaking here in my private capacity as a concerned, tax-paying parent citizen. The bottom line's very, very clear. We need to ramp up use of alternative energies, and we need to do it now. We can't be distracted by profiteers looking to squeeze money from the public. Our schools need the revenue from that metering, and our society needs the energy generated from it. As board members Fredericks and Smith just now explained, our schools have been incredibly proactive in leading us all in energy generation. like Pasadena and Oakland too. LAUSD is doing the same in an even order of magnitude greater scale. This is an absolutely massive program to harvest local and affordable energy, and your rules would scuttle that. Don't do this. I'm here asking you to amend the NEMA proposed decision in order to allow outside netting for schools, agriculture, and multi-meter properties. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller, Sarah. Rich Orba, your line is open. Rich Orba, please hit your mute button.
I asked the Commission to reject the proposed changes to the NEMA subtariff for aggregated systems who will no longer be able to net their generation against usage in real time, but forced to sell generation for a fraction of its value and buy it back at up to a 500% markup. It's bad public policy that farms are forced to buy their own energy back at vastly inflated prices for electrons that never leave the premises or use the grid. This decision was made despite zero evidence or studies on NEMA customers' cost of service. This policy will not only make on-site generation uneconomical, but storage as well. NEMA customers have installed over 1 gigawatt in PG&E alone, with 371 megawatts in disadvantaged communities, adding reliability and self-sufficiency in the time of public safety power shutoffs and spiraling transmission costs. For these reasons and others have espoused, here today, the proposed decision must be amended to include on-site netting. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller, option Laura. Your line is open.
Hello. My family owns a condominium in Fresno, and our renters would have no way of reducing their electric bill when they have financial difficulties. So please modify the NEM proposed decision to include on-site netting so that tenants, farmers, and our school districts can benefit from local renewables and affordable energy in the form of rooftop solar. And also shut down the Aliso Canyon gas storage. The Aliso Canyon is an old facility that has ongoing leakage detected by fence line monitoring after the blowout. It is on an earthquake fault line that is probably stressed from all that oil, wastewater, and steam injection from the oil industry in Southern California. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller, state 766, line open.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. I wanted to let you know that on this beautiful sunny Southern California day, it wasn't so when that methane gas blew up and had a black plume of smoke less than a mile from my house. And, you know, it just worries me that if they're going to ask for more storage facility there, how can that be if they couldn't even handle what happened then? They didn't even tell us about it. It took a lone cameraman to see it through another lens, that far infrared lens, to see that plume. They didn't even tell us. I don't trust them, and I don't know anything proper to say other than it frightens me, and I hope that Gavin Newsom does, you guys do what you said you were going to do and shut it down. It's really scary, even now, living this close. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller, Marilyn Buss, your line is open.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm audible. I'm asking that there should be no unnecessary increased gas at Aliso Canyon to say yes to closing it by 2020 prior to referendum. The area around Aliso Canyon is a permanent city epidemic of cancer and respiratory diseases since its opening. It must be closed. And thank you. Thanks for going overtime.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller, Simon Clapton, your line is open.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, President Bushman Reynolds. I'm a multifamily, affordable, and market rate housing developer focused on California, properties nationwide. I'm calling to encourage you all to send the proposed carve-out for SOMA properties, basically returning them to all multifamily. The shifts in M3, the lack of on-site netting will simply gut investment in multifamily in California. 40% of California's housing units are multifamily. Most of them are not solarized. There's a shift to elect under the IRA. It just makes sense to fix this error in what is otherwise a wise and necessary update to California's renewable energy policy. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Before we go to the next caller, if you wish to speak during the public comment period, please press star 1, unmute your phone, and clearly provide your name and organization when prompted. Our next caller is Lorraine Lundquist. Your line is open.
Hi, my name is Dr. Lorraine Lundquist. I'm at Cal University Northridge, the director of the MS program and sustainability there. And I'm calling to let folks know, I'm speaking on my personal capacity, I'm calling to let folks know that I'm opposed to the any gas increase at Aliso Canyon. My students have been heavily impacted by the facility there. During the blowout, we've had frequent nosebleeds and nausea and vomiting, and there continues to be health effects in the area. But also, it's really crazy to me that we have a plan to shut this facility down and to head away from fossil fuels, as we know we need to do, and that we're considering reopening and adding more fossil fuel storage in our community at a facility that where all of the wells cross active, the Santa Susana danger.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller, Lourdes, your line is open.
Yes, hi. My name is Lourdes Best. I'm calling from Northern California, and I am just calling to say that during the normal operations, the facility is the third most polluting gas storage field in the county for the U.S., for PA. And I actually come from a community where we had a toxic chemical waste plant. So I know what it is to live in a community where we have respiratory illnesses, breathing problems, and things of that nature. And I wouldn't want to wish that on anyone's community. So I'm calling today to also ask that this place be shut down. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Jane Fowler. Your line is open.
Hello?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm sorry. Jane Fowler, Aliso Moms Alliance, and I mean, my mind is just blown that we're actually talking about this again. I mean, is this increase really necessary? We have not had any blackouts with it just the way it is. I went away for 7 months. I was feeling better. I came back home. I ended up in the emergency room with my Aliso symptoms. The community is still under physical stress of sickness. And we're trying to get off fossil fuel for our future, for everyone's future. Why would we be going backwards? Why would we make ourselves more dependent on poison? I understand that we need a transition, but to rise to the challenge of moving towards a better future, why do you continue to allow Aliso to poison our community? I do not understand. All these elected bodies that run the city, the county, LA Board of Supervisors, LA City Council, LA US, etc. Tell them no on voting on raising the capacity. It needs to be shut down since it is making us sick. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Anna Christensen. Your line is open.
Labor Day, a history of protest, not picnic. During the 1930s coal miners' strike in bloody Harlan County, Florence Reese, a miners' right, wrote, "Which side are you on?" Also recorded by Pete Seeger in the 40s and adapted by Tony Morello in the 1970s. Across the great old nation, tell me what you're going to do when there's one law for the rulers and one law for the ruled. To take a side means to become allies who will protect each other. Will the PUC take the side of Aliso Canyon residents and deny SC Edison Sempra's application? Will you side with a global corporation that promotes and profits from the use of fossil fuel, who was fined $10 billion for unlawful lobbying against more efficient energy standards in California? Damages at Aliso Canyon were $2.35 billion. $50 billion will not be reimbursed by the applicant. So, scab for the bosses. Listen to their lies. Which side are you on, PUC? Which side are you on? We hope it's ours. We really do. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, next caller, please.
Before we go to the next caller, if you wish to speak during the public comment period, please press star 1, unmute your phone, and clearly provide your name and organization when prompted. One moment. President Reynolds, there are no more participants on the public comment telephone line.
Thank you. With no one else on the telephone line, we are now going to close the public comment period. Before I go to the next portion of the agenda, we will be taking a 20-minute break. So we'll take 20 minutes from now, and when we reconvene, we'll go to the next segment of the agenda. Thank you very much.
And callers, today's conference has resumed. President Reynolds, you may proceed.
All right, we are back in our meeting today, and we need to first establish a quorum, so I'll ask the agenda clerk to please call the roll.
Commissioner Douglas?
Here.
Commissioner John Reynolds?
Here.
Commissioner Houck?
Here.
Commissioner Sharoma?
Here.
President Alice Reynolds?
Here. We have a quorum. Okay, I'll now turn to the next item on the agenda. Before diving into the items, though, I do have changes to announce. Item 2 has been held to the October 12th, 2023 voting meeting. Items 9 and 10 have been held to the September 21st, 2023 voting meeting. Item 5 has been moved to the regular agenda. All right, the next item is the consent agenda, and I would like to ask for a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll move approval.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Sharma. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second from Commissioner Douglas. All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. Agenda clerk, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Douglas?
Aye.
Commissioner John Reynolds?
Yes.
Commissioner Houck?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharoma?
Aye.
President Alice Reynolds?
Yes, the vote is 5-0. The consent agenda has been approved. I'll now turn to item 5 on the regular agenda. Item 5 is Resolution TL 17792, which would approve grant funding for South Valley Internet, Inc., who will provide high-speed internet service to 194 unserved households in San Benito County. I'll turn to Executive Director Peterson, who will be presenting this resolution.
Thank you, President Reynolds, and good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to give a brief presentation of Item 5. As you noted, it would approve the grant application of South Valley Internet from our California Advanced Services Fund line extension program of approximately $1.78 million for the South Side Road project in Hollister, California. There are some special aspects of this grant. First, it will bring access to high-quality broadband internet to households that are unserved by the providers that serve other parts of San Benito County. Second, it is affordable access because households will receive internet free of charge for at least 5 years. Third, it's an implementation of the line extension program per the direction from the legislature, specifically Assembly Bill 1665, sponsored by Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia in 2017. And now just some specifics. The draft resolution recommends funding for the high-speed internet service to 194 unserved households in 3 low and very low income communities in San Benito County. Those are the San Benito County Farm Bureau Southside Road Labor Camp, the Hollister Migrant Housing Center administered by the San Benito County Health and Human Services Center, and the San Benito County Southside Mobile Park. The project will bring fiber and Ethernet to all of these locations. Access to this high-quality broadband at these locations will support farm worker families, including about 130 kids among the 740 residents. The county actively manages these properties. For example, it recently doubled the number of homes at the mobile home park to house people displaced by the Pajaro River flooding in the wake of storms we experienced last winter. The Hollister Migrant Housing Center also serves as a shelter for the broader community in the winter months. The grantee is South Valley Internet is a previous CASF grantee who successfully completed the Lightsaber Broadband project in rural Santa Clara County with commission approval in 2017. They have experience bringing internet to rural communities. With this approval, we'll build on our commitment to expanding connectivity for all Californians. Just before this announcement, we've already greenlit 3 other projects in the line extension program, collectively already exceeding $300,000 in funding. Thank you for consideration of the draft resolution, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Director Peterson. Comments from commissioners? Commissioner Houck.
Thanks. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Thank you, Director Peterson. I am really pleased to see this resolution on our agenda today. I may be repeating some of what you said, but I think it's important to underscore and highlight these projects on broadband. So again, I'm really pleased to support this resolution. It approves over $1.7 million from the CASF line extension program to provide a gigabit of internet to 194 homes, serving 740 residents and 130 school children who reside in a very low-income community in San Benito County. The project will provide free broadband internet service for 5 years, and the service provider, South Valley Internet Incorporated, has also promised to provide training and long-term support. I would also like to acknowledge the work of Phil Esparza, Jose Arnada, and Balanced Access, a nonprofit that provided funding for no-cost broadband service to residents and worked tirelessly to support the project, build trust among the community, and works to ensure efforts are advanced for all children to have the same access to broadband service to help them reach their full potential. As I've stated in the past, broadband availability by itself will not close the digital divide if we do not provide the skills and support to utilize the full benefits of this essential service. And we're doing that here with this project as well. And so I look forward to seeing these grants implemented, encourage our communications division to continue the great work to fund these projects that serve vulnerable communities that otherwise would not have access to these essential services. This project receives my full support, and I do want to acknowledge our staff that worked on this resolution, including Ligia Serpasa, Benjamin Swearingen, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing anybody's name, Stephanie Crespin, Vince Copey, Lou Fisher, Selena Wong, Enrique Gallardo from our legal division. They all spent a lot of time and effort in seeing this come through, and I particularly want to recognize Rob Osborne, our director in communications division, for all of his support for this project, and my advisor, Nikki Bawa, who has kept track of it and kept me appraised. So again, I look forward to following the success of this project and fully support the resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner Houck. Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you, President Reynolds, and I would like to echo Commissioner Houck's appreciation for Communications Division's work in preparing this resolution for today's voting meeting that will ensure that high-speed internet access is available for these 3 communities in the county of San Benito. This $1.78 million grant will fund, as has been outlined, the Southside Road project. I won't repeat all of the particulars about the project, but I will add one note of appreciation for this project's fiber backhaul connection to existing AT&T middle mile fiber and a fiber network to extend broadband lines to individual housing units here. The project is over 3,500 feet of distribution fiber as well as 18,000 feet of fiber drop cables. And, ultimately this is the kind of project that we need to ensure that we're not missing parts of the state in developing fiber and other high-quality internet services out to different parts of the community that are currently unserved. This project aims to close the digital divide, and it's faced by so many of our low-income and rural communities, so I really appreciate the effort here to develop this project and get it in front of us today. I really appreciate the benefits of this grant and those that it promises to deliver to these 194 households. I'll be supporting this item. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Douglas.
Thank you, President Reynolds. I just wanted to speak briefly in support of this item as well. I'm excited to see it come before us. I'm really pleased that through this grant, we will be able to help extend broadband service to people who don't have it, and with that, the life-changing access to educational and health and other services. And so I'm also in support. Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Sharma.
Thank you, President Reynolds. I am in support of this resolution, and overall, I appreciate the progress being made in California in providing reliable internet access to critical health services and online schooling in communities of low-income and very low-income farm workers and people transitioning into the workforce. So very pleased to support and look forward to voting aye. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm also very pleased to support this resolution. I did want to just amplify a few points about the project. This project, the Southside Road project, is going to provide future-proof connectivity to hundreds of residents of farm worker housing in California's Central Coast. So, and not only will it provide the latest fiber optic service, but it's going to provide the service for free for about 5 years. So this is really a step towards a revolution in digital equity. The project meets the low-income and vulnerable community where they are, providing a vital service for the whole community at the outset, without the need for complex sign-up or renewable processes for each household. This really furthers the state's goal to increase broadband affordability, access, and digital equity in communities with limited broadband adoption. I also wanted to just briefly thank the staff. I won't repeat everyone, but I know a lot of members of our staff worked very hard on this resolution and continue to work on broadband issues. I'm also grateful to South Valley Internet for putting this proposal forward and very happy to be supporting it today. All right, with that concludes commissioner comments. I would like to ask for a motion.
I move that we adopt the resolution.
We have a motion from Commissioner Houck. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second from Commissioner Reynolds. Agenda Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Douglas?
Aye.
Commissioner John Reynolds?
Yes.
Commissioner Houck?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharma?
Aye.
President Alice Reynolds?
Yes. The vote is 5-0. The item passes. We'll now move to item 29. Item 29 is R1807005, a proposed decision directing Pacific Gas and Electric Company, Southern California Edison Company, San Diego Gas and Electric Company, and Southern California Gas Company to offer 24-month payment plans to residential customers until October 1st, 2026, and extending arrearage management payment program and authorizing a study of eligible populations for medical baseline program. Commissioner Houck, as the assigned commissioner, would you like to present the item?
Thank you, President Reynolds. So energy access is critical to our economic and social stability and well-being. We found that there has been a steady increase in disconnection rates for gas and electric service over the last several years. Even after a customer has paid their balance, the reconnection process can be time-consuming and costly. Therefore, one of the goals of this proceeding is to lower disconnection rates for electric and gas services, and in addition, we want to promote reliability for customers who are struggling to make ends meet so that they can continue to make payments rather than face disconnections. So this decision tries to strike a balance and achieve both of these goals. The decision takes into account that the COVID payment plans are coming to an end in September of 2024 and requires the large investor-owned utilities to implement 24-month payment plans for those customers who are 60 days behind on their bills and who are not already enrolled in a payment plan. It's reasonable that a 24-month payment plan will allow customers to miss up to 2 payments before being disconnected from the plan or from their service. This decision also requires the large investor-owned utilities to provide notice of a missed payment prior to disconnection, either by text message or by email, as it's also important that customers receive notice that they missed the payment prior to being disconnected. Regarding the arrearage management payment plan, this decision extends the plan to October 1st, 2026, and requires the large investor-owned utilities to meet with other parties to the proceeding to discuss the AMP program's best practices and to notify the Commission of any best practices and any minor operational changes that the utilities plan to implement. I believe that these requirements will help reduce disconnections and improve the affordability of utility bills as California ratepayers continue to adjust and rebound from the effects of the COVID pandemic. Lastly, this decision reasonably authorizes the large investor-owned utilities to conduct a medical baseline study and to file a report that addresses new enrollment goals for the next 5 years for the medical baseline program and medical discounts on non-tiered rates, as well as how often to update the medical baseline study, the process for developing these updates, and the process for setting future enrollment goals, which are important considerations to improve our medical baseline program. I'd like to thank my Bagley-Keene partner, Commissioner Sharoma, and her advisor, Jack Chang, for all of their valuable input into this proceeding. I want to thank Administrative Law Judge Stephanie Wong for all of her work. She's helped move this proceeding forward and has done a tremendous job. I also want to thank our Energy Division staff, Janelle Hu, Isaac Tong, and Paul Phillips for all of their excellent work on this proceeding, legal advisors Jesse Stout and Sarah Thomas, who have been on top of issues and have provided very meaningful input into making the decision what it is. I'd also like to thank my former advisor, Adam Buchholz, for all of his work, and my current advisor working on this, Carrie Ann Shepard, for all of their work. And again, a lot has gone into this decision, and I think we're making progress in trying to ensure that we've got some safety nets for vulnerable communities, and I hope you will support the decision.
Thank you. Commissioner Sharoma.
Thank you, President Reynolds. I very much appreciate the updates proposed in the decision. It's really important to continue these essential programs that are helping utility customers maintain their service while staying current on their bills. At the same time, there are many customers who are still in arrears coming out of the pandemic. These plans will help not only prevent customers from being disconnected, but to catch up on what they owe. And going forward, I think it's important to track customer experiences using these programs. It's very important to ensure that customers who qualify for the Care and Fairer programs, those are the discount bill programs that are implemented by the utilities. They serve low and medium income households, and to assure that customers are aware of those opportunities. I want to thank Commissioner Houck and her team for her leadership on this effort in carrying these programs forward, making some important updates, and to the Energy Division, legal, and administrative law judge team. It takes a team to do these proceedings and these decisions, and I'm very happy to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Douglas.
Thank you. I also support this proposed decision, and I'd like to thank Commissioner Houck and her advisors and the staff and ALJs who worked on this proposed decision for maintaining the focus on protections for financially and medically vulnerable individuals. And I'm in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you, President Reynolds. I'd also like to thank Commissioner Houck for her leadership in this docket and offer my thanks as well to ALJ Wong for her work on this proceeding and for answering my office's questions in preparation for today's vote. This decision builds on the work the Commission set out in our decision creating the Arrearage Management Plan and in the resolution which ratified emergency customer protections, including the disconnection moratorium, by recognizing the continued financial strain that many households face in the wake of the pandemic, and provides a pathway for customers who continue to struggle with their monthly utility bills. This decision's 24-month payment plan, continuation of the Arrearage Management Plan, and its study of the eligible populations for medical baseline rates will be very valuable in continuing to support these customers. I appreciate the proposed decision's choice not to automatically enroll customers in long-term payment plans, recognizing that customers should select the best programs and financial options for their individualized circumstances. I will look forward to the continued evaluation of the Arrearage Management Plan and the results from the medical baseline study in this proceeding. Ultimately, I think the 24-month payment plan outlined in this decision will provide a transparent payment option for customers while ultimately bringing down monthly bills to support them. I look forward to following phase 2 in this proceeding, and I will be supporting this item. Thank you.
Thank you. I also wanted to thank Commissioner Houck for her leadership in this proceeding. I am very supportive of the proposed decision. I just wanted to make a few comments to remind everyone about the history here, because this action is part of a longer-term effort by the CPUC to address and mitigate arrearages. And just to show the progress that we've made and the attention to this issue that has been over a long period of time. So in 2017, Senate Bill 598 required the PUC to develop policies or regulations to reduce electric and gas disconnection rates. And our response was this proceeding. We launched the proceeding with the goal of reducing residential disconnections and to improve the reconnection process. Around the beginning of the proceeding, we saw residential customers were being disconnected at even higher rates in the large IOU territories. And in 2018, the proceeding established immediate interim rules to reduce disconnections. And then in 2020, adopted ongoing rules to reduce disconnection and created the Arrearage Management Payment Plan program. And this, of course, 2020 is in the pandemic. And as we all know, the pandemic placed additional stresses on customers and caused arrearages to increase. And in 2020, when the governor issued an executive order to implement emergency customer protections to address the COVID-19 emergency, the commission was ready. We had already been undertaking this proceeding and had a basis to comply with that executive order. So the commission ratified customer protections and imposed a moratorium on electric and gas disconnections that was extended through September of 2021. But over the course of the moratorium, customer arrearages grew, and they continue to grow. To counter this, in part, in 2021 and 2022, the legislature allocated nearly $2.2 billion to fund the California Arrearages Payment Plan program. That funding went directly to customers to reduce or eliminate arrearages coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic. As we transition out of the pandemic now, this proceeding is helping to continue to help customers catch up on their bills, and in the future to find a way to pay their monthly bills through payment plans. I appreciate that this PD continues the long-term payment plan and extends the Arrearage Management Payment Plan, and it also works to ensure that the large IOUs improve their implementation of these programs. Because of this, I will be supporting the PD. I think it is a very smart, thoughtful approach to continue the work in this area. And so I appreciate all of the work of Commissioner Houck and her staff and the staff of the commission who brought us here today with this PD. With that, I will be asking for a vote on this item, item 29. So do we have a vote, a motion on item 29?
Also move.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Sharoma. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Reynolds. Agenda clerk, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Douglas?
Aye.
Commissioner John Reynolds?
Yes.
Commissioner Houck?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharoma?
Aye.
President Alice Reynolds?
Yes. The vote is 5-0. The motion passes. All right, the next item is item 30, a proposed decision on a petition to modify the storage limit at Aliso Canyon Natural Gas Storage Facility. As the assigned commissioner to this proceeding, I will present the item. I'll first note that the proposed decision addresses a limited issue. The issue is whether to increase the restriction on the natural gas inventory levels at the Aliso Canyon storage facility to address the immediate needs of resiliency and protecting customers from rate impacts during winter months. The proposed decision would approve an increase in the inventory level up to the safety limit set by the Geological Energy Management Division, or CalGEM, to protect gas and electricity customers from economic impacts during the 2023-2024 winter season. I'll start by making it clear that this decision does not impact our work to develop a plan to minimize or eliminate the dependency on Aliso Canyon. That process is ongoing, including the release just this week of a new ruling with a set of near-term steps we'll be taking. Next, I want to be clear that this decision is not about using more natural gas or allowing the use of more natural gas. It's about storing natural gas inside California in preparation for the winter. And I want to note that this decision is being considered while we, together with other state agencies, are working with urgency on the challenge of reducing reliance on natural gas throughout the state. To start there, we do have some policy levers that we're using on our work to transition away from natural gas. To name a few, we've recently eliminated ratepayer cost sharing for new natural gas hookups. We've been implementing programs to decarbonize buildings like the TEC program, which has a roughly $265 million budget. And we've been working to reduce reliance on natural gas in the electric sector, on track to get to clean energy in 2045, and already reaching 59% clean energy electricity generation in 2021. In the meantime, as we know, California has 40 million people, and almost 90% of them rely on natural gas for essential services, including warming their homes in the winter. Yet we import almost all of our gas supply from out of state through a pipeline system. Specifically, approximately 90% of the natural gas we currently rely on is imported. And we know that this past winter, gas customers, including low-income and vulnerable customers, struggled to pay their bills. We heard from many of those customers earlier this year. The bills they saw this past winter reflected extraordinarily high price spikes in the wholesale natural gas market. Wholesale prices were high here in Northern California, but they were even higher in Southern California, and residents there experienced extraordinarily high bills. So, in addition to the reliance on out-of-state natural gas production, in-state storage in the Southern California system is a finite resource and has to get us through the entire winter. As a result, when cold spells occur early in the season, reliability risks increase and prices can be impacted. Because early in the season, none of us know how many cold spells will occur the rest of the winter and how intense those cold spells will be. We can't ignore these weather conditions and the current system in place to heat homes, heat water, and meet other natural gas demands. Climate change is bringing many unpredictable and extreme weather events. This decision will help us be more resilient to those impacts. It's our job as energy regulators to allow for mitigation in price volatility and provide price protections to ratepayers with the tools that we have. It's very important to note that we're in a transition period, and this is an interim inventory limit. In the meantime, we're working to reduce reliance on the storage facility. But frankly, we're not there yet, and we face many challenges. We're seeing new homes and businesses with gas hookups being constructed even as we work to retrofit existing ones. But we are working in the transition. We're in a transition time, and we have to take into account the real-world conditions we're facing and the real-world impacts of our actions. We currently have few alternatives, especially for low-income and vulnerable communities. And also like to note, and this is important, that this decision does not find that the limited storage was the only factor impacting prices last winter. There were other factors, and the PUC is examining conditions and causes and will continue to do so. So I also want to explain specifically what the proposed decision is doing. The proposed decision we're voting on today would lift the current restrictions of the level of working natural gas at the Aliso Canyon storage facility on an interim basis from 41.16 billion cubic feet to 68.6 billion cubic feet. The 68.6 billion cubic feet limit is driven by safety. It is the safe limit level set by the state's Geological Energy Management Division, or CalGEM, as I said, set according to its analysis of what level of storage is safe at the facility. The proposed decision would put more liquidity into the market by allowing electric generators and other large customers to buy and store natural gas at Aliso Canyon this fall when prices tend to be lower than in winter. This stored natural gas can then be dependent on in the winter when wholesale prices are higher and more volatile because demand for natural gas is at its peak or approaching its peak. Having this gas cushion available during the winter can drive down the price of natural gas, and that very much benefits residential customers. It also benefits residential customers by reducing the price of electricity. Since natural gas is used by electric generators to produce electricity, lower natural gas prices mean lower electricity prices. Again, our state has very ambitious climate goals that we are working on, and one of the main strategies for decarbonizing our economy is to move steadily away from our reliance on natural gas by reducing our demand for natural gas. In the meantime, millions of people, including customers across the LA basin, still rely on natural gas every day. We will reduce our dependency on Aliso Canyon, but we also need to allow people, especially low-income and vulnerable customers, to access affordable energy as we move to a new electrified economy. So finally, I want to underscore that the CPUC is only one of the many government agencies that regulates Aliso Canyon. The regulation of natural gas facilities falls under the jurisdiction of multiple agencies. The California Department of Conservation's CalGEM has primary jurisdiction over gas wells, and the South Coast Air Quality Management District regulates air quality related to the use of gas wells. Other agencies, such as the California Air Resources Board, the Division of Occupational Health and Safety, the Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment, among other agencies, also have responsibilities for regulating health and safety related to the Aliso Canyon facility. Our role works concurrently with those other agencies and their mandates, which govern SoCalGas's operation of the facility. The decision before us today is only one part of the work of these agencies and the CPUC related to the facilities. I want to close by saying that the proposed decision is not something I have taken lightly. Based on the evidence in the record and recognizing that this proposed decision is an interim action to protect ratepayers against unpredictable cold winter weather while we finalize a plan to mitigate or eliminate the use of Aliso Canyon through other actions we are taking up in this proceeding, I do support the proposed decision. I want to thank the administrative law judge and all the staff who have worked on this decision. And with that, I will turn to my fellow commissioners for comment. Commissioner Douglas.
Thank you, President Reynolds. So as we navigate the path to a decarbonized grid, it's essential that we set a steadfast course while also preparing ourselves for the inevitable challenges that can occur. As we do all we can to implement and accelerate the clean energy transition, we also have to keep perspective about today's demands for reliable and affordable energy. And in particular, I do believe that we need additional safeguards against the kinds of extreme rate shocks that we witnessed last winter. This proposed decision, by allowing for additional inventory levels at Aliso Canyon at safe thresholds ahead of the upcoming winter, will help achieve that. I do want to acknowledge the comments that we all heard by residents of Porter Ranch and surrounding areas. These speakers expressed a deep concern about the facility and a very strong desire to see it shut down, and we all heard that. I hope the speakers, I hope the community remains engaged in the CPUC process as we do move forward to develop a plan to reduce or eliminate reliance on Aliso Canyon through a process that will seek to identify and get in place a suitable mix of replacement resources and demand reduction strategies. We really do need to turn our focus to that plan and that process and move forward with it. And at the same time, I think the action proposed today is important, and we need to move forward with it because of the price spikes that occurred last winter and the need to take steps to safeguard against a recurrence. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Douglas. Commissioner Sharma.
Thank you, President Reynolds, and for the very thorough backgrounder on the circumstances around this proposed decision, the many efforts that are underway at the Commission, and our commitment to the various tools that need to be in place for reducing the need for natural gas, and also appreciate the folks who called in today. I will be supporting the proposed decision. I think that public safety is one of the Commission's top priorities, and in approving increased gas storage to mitigate winter peak prices on customer bills at Aliso Canyon, the safety of the nearby neighborhoods, including Porter Ranch, the safety of the residents stays top of mind and at the center of our decision-making process. President Reynolds, you mentioned the various agencies that are involved in the safety and monitoring. SoCal Gas has been required to implement a suite of advanced leak detection and asset monitoring technologies, along with some major infrastructure replacement and advancements at the field. The monitoring technologies include around-the-clock monitoring of the tubing, the pressure of the wells to the SoCal Gas 24-hour operations center, real-time wellhead monitors for leak detection on all of the wells, upwind and downwind ambient methane monitoring and meteorological stations, enhanced training for the employees and contractors, wellhead leak detection and repair, audio-visual inspections, and the use of optical gas imaging inspections on the active and idle injection and withdrawal wellhead assembly, amongst a number of things. Furthermore, SoCal Gas has been required to install safety emergency shutdown systems on all the injection and withdrawal wells, which include surface safety valves. So I very much appreciate that in the complex grid, the complex structure of the natural gas system, both transmission and distribution, and the tools that are needed towards cost containment. I appreciate what providing for additional storage at Aliso Canyon will provide, and in the meantime, continuing our commitment to make progress in the overall plan for the dispensing of the Aliso Canyon storage facility. Thank you. And microphone back to you, President Reynolds.
Thank you, Commissioner Sharma. Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you, President Reynolds. And I'd like to offer my appreciation for your leadership in this difficult proceeding. Today's discussion on Aliso Canyon is not an easy one, but it is a necessary and a timely one. The Commission opened this investigation in accordance with Senate Bill 380, which tasked us with determining the feasibility of minimizing or eliminating the use of Aliso Canyon while still maintaining energy and electric reliability for the region. And as has been noted, today's proposed decision is not about our ultimate answer to that question. Instead, it stems from a joint petition by SoCalGas and San Diego Gas and Electric Company requesting a modification of a prior commission decision on the working gas storage capacity at Aliso Canyon, specifically a request to increase working gas to 68.6 billion cubic feet from the current level of 41.16 billion cubic feet. Today's proposed decision finds that the interim limit should be raised, and I want to touch upon some of the findings here. First, regarding affordability, as my colleagues have touched on, the proposed decision before us does what is in our Commission's power to mitigate potential adverse bill impacts this upcoming winter for people in Southern California. The current PD modifies a prior decision increasing the storage limit, recognizing that without a higher storage limit, customers face more financial risk. And as is noted in the PD, during the 2022-2023 winter, SoCalGas and SDG&E have estimated very considerable savings in excess of $300 million had Aliso Canyon had a higher limit on the use of gas stored since the summer. We saw very considerable gas price spikes. SoCalGas residential bills averaged $308.29 in January 2023, approximately 300% higher than their average January bills from the period of 2017 to 2022. San Diego Gas and Electric customers faced average residential bills of $233.77, higher than the $78.78 average between 2017 and 2022. For the 2023-24 winter, this upcoming winter, if conditions are like the past winter, SoCalGas and San Diego Gas and Electric have estimated possible savings in excess of $200 million based on the reduction in winter natural gas market prices from the availability of the facility. Storage capacity mitigates price volatility because it provides the ability to buy cheaper gas during the summer months for the winter months when gas is normally more expensive. And while many of the estimates that we have of specific dollar amounts come from the gas utilities, we also have ratepayer advocates who are supportive of the petition to increase the interim storage limit, who view it as a tool to dampen price spikes in the natural gas market. Turning next to safety, as has been outlined by my colleagues already, CalGEM sets a maximum safe pressure for each natural gas storage field in California. For Aliso Canyon, that corresponds to a maximum storage level of 68.6 billion cubic feet. After the Aliso Canyon leak, CalGEM reduced the Aliso Canyon safe inventory limit from 86 billion cubic feet to 68.6 billion cubic feet. This is a 17.4 billion cubic feet reduction compared to Aliso Canyon's pre-leak capacity. And that's the level deemed safe by CalGEM. Next to reliability, the proposed decision recognizes that the increased storage level will additionally help secure energy reliability and protect against high natural gas and electric prices. The core reliability and load balancing functions of natural gas storage would continue to be supported with this PD. I want to offer my thanks and appreciation to the community members who have been voicing their concerns about Aliso Canyon, and underscore again that our action today does not end this proceeding. It does not resolve some of the ultimate questions that we have to answer here. If anything, the decision before us acknowledges the timeline and progression of this proceeding, that will address our statutory mandate to determine the feasibility and pathway to reduce or eliminate California's dependency on Aliso Canyon. So please continue to engage with us, whether providing public comment on this proceedings docket or sending written or phone comments to our Public Advisor's Office on Aliso Canyon. Additionally, please note that our Energy Division hosts a webpage on Aliso Canyon, which details all of our actions regarding this facility. And that's cpuc.ca.gov/Aliso, ALISO. I can sympathize with people who live near this facility and have expressed fears and concerns about its continued use. There has been real change in the oversight of gas storage in our state following the wellhead failure and leak at Aliso Canyon. Some people argue that we have been fine without operating this facility at higher capacity. The affordability concerns outlined in this resolution, and which my colleagues and I have spoken to, are a key motivation for increasing capacity at this facility at this time. We have faced higher gas prices due to several factors, and one of those is limited gas storage availability. And we've been facing increasing extreme weather events, both summer heat waves and cold winters across the West, that we need to prepare for. As climate change increases the risk of extreme weather, we need to take action, following on the improved safety oversight and investment in this facility to provide customers additional protection against the kind of price spikes we saw last winter. As we look further out, as my colleagues have noted, it will be increasingly important to focus on smart plans to reduce gas demand while maintaining reliability and affordability. I want to acknowledge all of the hardworking staff in Energy Division and the Administrative Law Judge who've been supporting this proceeding. I appreciate all of the attention to detail in this proceeding overall, as well as in the revisions on the proposed decision. I believe that this proposed decision provides the best path forward to protecting customers from rate impacts for this upcoming winter and in the near future. I'll be supporting this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Houck?
Thank you, President Reynolds, and I want to thank you for your leadership on this difficult matter. I want to thank the Administrative Law Judge and all of our staff and Energy Division on the gas team, the Safety Enforcement team, and the Legal Division that provided support and that briefed my office more than once. I also want to thank my Chief of Staff and an amazing graduate student advisor in my office who did research and answered questions and coordinated with staff to get me answers before today's voting meeting. The proposed decision before us grants in part and denies in part the petition to modify filed by Southern California Gas Company, or SoCalGas. This investigation has received significant attention as to concerns raised by the surrounding community, environmental social justice community-based organizations, and ratepayer advocacy organizations regarding safety issues, environmental concerns, and equity and ratepayer affordability issues. There are compelling issues raised by all of the parties as to leaving the status quo and as to granting the petition. We at the Commission are charged with ensuring safe, reliable, and affordable utility service, and it's our job to balance all of these factors and make determinations that will best serve California while meeting these mandates. This is not an easy decision, and nor is it taken lightly. I know it's a very difficult decision for me in looking at what's before us and all of the interest raised, but I believe that each of us sitting here on the dais today has carefully considered the issues before us and will be voting to make the best possible decision given the record in issues, the specific issues that are before us today. Not everyone will be supportive of our decision today, no matter what we decide, but I feel confident that our commission staff, the assigned administrative law judge, and the assigned commissioner's office have carefully considered and analyzed the issues presented in the petition and are carefully considering the issues presented in the consolidated phase 2 and 3 of the proceeding that is ongoing with a proposed decision anticipated in first quarter of 2024. Based on the ruling that was issued earlier this week. The proposed decision before us does not adopt SoCalGas's exact request. However, it does allow for an increase in the interim storage limit of working gas at the Aliso Canyon storage facility from 41.16 billion cubic feet to 68.6 billion cubic feet. The Commission is proposing Proposed decision would increase Aliso Canyon's allowable gas storage in order to address the need to ensure safe, reliable, and affordable utility service for Californians, particularly in the Southern California region, and we cannot compromise on these critical mandates. I want to first address safety. It's imperative that we're confident the facility is safe to operate at this higher level of storage. And to reach a sufficient confidence level on the integrity of the facility, we look to the experts in the field, those on the ground that are operating the facility, inspecting the facility, and regulating the safety of the facility. And key entities that are providing this information are the safety regulatory staff at CalGEM and our PUC safety staff as well. CalGEM reviews annual safety reports for underground pipelines and infrastructure requiring all wells pass all tests within 1 year to remain operational. Otherwise, they are permanently sealed. CalGEM requires SoCalGas to conduct a seismic study through a third-party consultant. In shared monitoring, the PUC Safety Enforcement Division review above-ground pipelines and appurtenances such as wellhead safety on a continuous basis through audits and inspections. And additionally, South Coast Air Quality Management District maintains 24-hour methane monitoring through both infrared sensors and 24-hour in-person inspections. The significant safety monitoring from the atmosphere to the underground geologic wells ensure that Aliso Canyon is one of the most highly monitored gas storage facilities in California, if not the nation. It's also important to emphasize that this decision increases the interim amount of gas that can be stored at Aliso Canyon, and that the determination on the ultimate amount of gas and whether and how long the facility remains open is being actively addressed in phase 2 and 3 of this proceeding. Today's decision specifically recognizes that Decision 2111-008 explicitly states it is an interim solution to address immediate needs of reliability and protecting customers from rate impacts, while the Commission comprehensively evaluates the portfolio of resources that could replace Aliso Canyon. This comprehensive assessment is being evaluated in the proceeding. As stated above, there's an anticipated decision that will potentially come out early next year, and today's decision is not intended to undercut a thorough and complete assessment of the feasibility of minimizing or eliminating the use of Aliso Canyon while maintaining energy and electric reliability for the region. In considering how to proceed, we must also account for California's need to successfully achieve its clean energy goals, and in doing so, it's critical that we ensure we have sufficient affordable energy for essential needs, including providing electricity. This said, it's not sustainable to continue to rely on an increased storage of fossil gas in the longer term, and it's not sustainable for purposes of future reliability, as we need to meet our climate goal challenges to ensure that we have a planet for our children and our grandchildren to be able to thrive in. While we need to ensure energy and electric reliability for consumers, the Commission also is currently and must increase the work we are doing on a more enduring and long-term solution to the severe climate impacts and the energy affordability crisis that we're facing, not just looking to the present, but also to the future impacts of what we're doing today. We have multiple ongoing proceedings that are intended to further our clean energy goals and ensure that we reach 100% carbon-free energy consistent with our SB 100 goals. Many of these programs and proceedings were referenced by President Reynolds and are going to get us to where we need to be able to decommission aging gas infrastructure. These proceedings are focused on load flexibility, building and transportation decarbonization, climate adaptation, long-term gas planning, demand response, distribution grid planning, integrated resource planning, energy efficiency, and other critical measures that support our transition to a clean energy future. And we must be as aggressive as possible in our actions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. A number of parties have raised significant concerns regarding energy cost and the price spikes we saw last year. For us to be effective in implementation of our clean energy goals, we must maintain affordability of energy resources for ratepayers in the face of increasing energy costs and global energy disruptions. Allowing for interim additional storage capacity at Aliso Canyon this summer will help stabilize gas prices for next winter. while we continue to evaluate the causes of last winter's price spike and complete the review for a longer-term plan of the facility. To the extent the proposed decision is adopted today, we cannot lose sight of the reality that we are facing, and consistent with the comments presented by parties, must recognize the pending increase in devastating climate events and the need to work faster and better in transitioning our energy landscape to meet the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century and combat impacts of a changing environment. As recommended by some of the parties, I think we need to take a careful look and see how we can address the longer-term issues associated with gas infrastructure, and we need to continue to and increase our authorization for clean energy investments in Southern California, investments that can mitigate gas demand in the region. We must reach conclusions on the comprehensive plans that address minimizing or eliminating the Aliso Canyon facility in a timely manner, which is progressing and is moving forward. We need to engage with our sister agencies, local governments, and communities to aggressively pursue building electrification efforts in Southern California and look to targeted resource procurements that will contribute to a reduction of gas use in the region so that we can safely decommission aging gas infrastructure without compromising reliability or affordability. This is, again, a difficult decision. However, based on the record before us and the limited issues in front of us, and the need to ensure an equitable clean energy transition, I believe that for interim purposes, the proposed decision ensures maintaining energy and electricity reliability for the region while allowing the review of the staff proposal plan to progress in a timely manner to resolve the outstanding issues regarding minimizing or eliminating the facility. And with that, we'll be supporting the decision today.
Thank you, Commissioner Houck. That concludes comments from commissioners. I would now ask for a motion on item 30.
Move item 30.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Douglas and a second by Commissioner Reynolds. Agenda clerk, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Douglas?
Aye.
Commissioner John Reynolds?
Yes.
Commissioner Houck?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharama?
Aye.
President Alice Reynolds?
Yes. The vote is 5-0. The item passes. We will now go to item 31 on the agenda, which is Management Report on Administrative Actions and Consumer Protection and Safety Activities. There are no management reports today, so we now move to Commissioner reports. Okay, Commissioner reports. Who would like to go first? All right, Commissioner Houck, please go ahead.
Thank you, President Reynolds. So last Friday, I had the honor and opportunity to be able to participate in a signing ceremony at the Hoopa Valley Reservation with representatives from the California Department of Technology and the Governor's Government Operations Office. The signing ceremony was in regards to an agreement between the Hoopa Valley Tribe that will be extending 23 miles of last mile fiber to join up with middle mile fiber that is managed by the California Department of Technology. It was a historic event as the Hoopa Valley Tribe has stepped in to take leadership in managing how to ensure that broadband access is available to its members, and the facilities that they will be taking on are both on tribal trust land as well as off tribal trust land to serve the tribal community in the region, and it will go all the way down to Willow Creek. Again, it was a historic event. The tribe was very happy that we all came up to visit them. We were happy to be able to be up there, and the PUC contributed to this effort by providing local technical assistance funding that is helping them do the legwork to get this fiber up and on the ground. So that was a great opportunity, and I look forward to continuing to work with the Hoopa Valley Tribe and the other tribes in the North Coast as they're leading the way on eliminating the digital divide for the tribal communities there. I also participated in a consultation with North Fork Rancheria and Ponderosa Telephone Company earlier this week to talk about options for expanding broadband in the North Fork area, and it was a very positive conversation, and I think it was the first of many. And I will be meeting with representatives from tribes located here in Lake County tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to talking with them as well. I also want to note that in our service quality workshop for telecommunications, we will be holding a workshop in Sacramento next week on September 7th in person, and there will also be the ability to listen in virtually as well. And I also, last but not least, want to recognize all of the hard work that our communications division staff have put in over the last several weeks in preparing, finalizing, and submitting the California's 5-year plan to NTAI for BEAD funding. It was a tremendous amount of work, a very heavy lift, and just want to commend all of them for their work. And recognize our partners at NTIA and CDT for all of the work over the last several months to help move the BEAD and digital equity efforts forward. And with that, I'll end my...
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hauk. How about Commissioner Douglas next?
All right, thank you. First of all, I'm pleased to share that 2 weeks ago, Eamon Nalband joined my office as an advisor. Eamon was most recently at the Department of Finance, where he served as a principal program budget analyst too. He has very extensive experience with developing, analyzing, and formulating recommendations in the budget process and with regard to other related fiscal affairs for the state's energy agencies. And he's worked on energy reliability, broadband telecommunications, utility wildfire safety regulation, zero-emission vehicles and infrastructure, and more. So it's a great portfolio to transition over to the Public Utilities Commission. He's very excited to get into the policy and the work that we do, and so I want to thank and welcome Eamon to this role. In terms of activities, Commissioner Sharoma and I this morning visited the Golden State Water Company, and in particular, in light of their recent acquisition of the Crescent Bay water system at Clear Lake, we went there and got, for me, my first real exposure to one of these, very small water systems. And so we had a chance to walk down quite a lot of steps to the treatment facility at the shores of the lake and just really kind of understand what it takes to provide water service to people in that environment, and also to learn that along Clear Lake there are places where houses are not served by any of the existing water systems. And so that was very interesting for me, and I appreciate the opportunity to have had that visit. Continuing on the water theme for some reason, but last week I also had a chance to do a water visit. I went to California Water Services Dixon Water System and had a chance to see what they do, and the pumps and the water storage and the treatment there in Dixon. On August 18th, the Disadvantaged Communities Advisory Group met in San Francisco, and so that was a good discussion there. I will just mention looking as well, the transmission project review process remote workshop was held on August 17th, and I had the opportunity to attend that. So those are my reports. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Douglas. Commissioner Sharoma.
Thank you, President Reynolds. Several things. First, I'd like to share that Commission staff are holding 2 workshops on the ratepayer-funded EPIC Program Investment Charge, or the Electric Program Investment Charge, or EPIC, Research and Development Program. These 2 workshops will be hybrids. They'll be in person and also available virtually. They will be next week and will be focused on defining the grid modernization goals that can be a focus in upcoming funding. They will be held at 900 Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles, Wednesday, September 6th, starting at 1 p.m., Thursday, September 7th, beginning at 10 a.m., and they're overall an effort to set the strategic goals for the Epic's fifth investment cycle that we just ordered out in our recent decision. There'll be a focus on transportation electrification, distributed energy resource integration, and grid resiliency goals. And more information is on the CPUC's daily calendar. Also, on Tuesday, September 5th, there will be an online workshop discussing metrics and standards for measuring the impact of resiliency as part of the Commission's integrated resource planning process. And during that workshop, the consulting firm Lumen will discuss metrics developed for the Commission to evaluate resilience improvements and how those improvements can be reflected in the overall integrated resource planning process. That workshop is available on the CPUC's daily calendar, and it starts at 10 a.m. Then the Commission's Universal Lifeline Telephone Service Administrative Committee, or ULTSAC, will hold its third quarterly meeting. It will be on September 15th, starting at 12:30. That advisory committee provides advice and recommendations to the Commission on the development, implementation, and administration of the California Lifeline Program, which is the discount program for voice. Additional information is on the daily calendar. And then finally, I've been invited to speak on a panel at the UC Davis Energy Graduate Group to its graduate students on September 20th. Other panelists include Vice Chair Sivagunda from the California Energy Commission and CAISO board member Angelina Galateva, who serves on the Board of Governors. I think we might all be alumni of UC Davis. So we will be talking with the graduate group. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sharma. Commissioner Reynolds.
Thank you. Last week I had a chance to attend our SB 100 kickoff event for the upcoming SB 100 report that we do in partnership with the Energy Commission and the Air Resources Board. It was wonderful to join our colleagues in our continuing growth together as we support California's clean energy transition. We had some very interesting panels raising some of the challenging issues that we're going to confront as partnering agencies as we work to accomplish the transition. And the other thing I would like to note, this is the last week for Pietro Marconi, an intern in my office, a Schultz Fellow from Stanford. He's a grad student at Stanford who has been diving into demand response research, evaluating demand response programs and their interplay with markets around the country. It's been wonderful to have Pietro in the office. He's really gotten, I think, a wonderful whirlwind view of the PUC and its work. It's been a pleasure to have him, and we are saying goodbye to him and letting him go back to Stanford this semester.
Great, thank you. I do have a couple of items for my commission report. I had the honor of attending a signing ceremony also. This was for a memorandum of understanding between California and Australia. It occurred on August 15th. This memorandum of understanding outlines how two of the largest economies in the world can come together and push forward climate policy through international cooperation. The MOU touches on cornerstones of a clean energy economy, for instance, zero-emission vehicles, clean energy deployment like offshore wind and hydrogen supply chains, climate adaptation, including wildfire resilience, as well as green finance and the circular economy. The MOU also importantly recognizes the ongoing reconciliation with Indigenous Australians and Californians and the need to pursue full, equal, and meaningful representation and leadership of Indigenous peoples in climate action and decision-making. It was really inspiring to be there for the kickoff of this historic partnership, and it also gets me in the spirit for Climate Week in New York, which I'll be attending in mid-September. Looking forward to more bilateral discussions with other countries on how we can work together to stave off worsening impacts of climate change jointly with other jurisdictions throughout the nation and world. I also had the opportunity to attend and speak at the EDAM Market Forum in Las Vegas yesterday. The forum was intended to foster dialogue on the evolution of the extended day-ahead market. It was a very timely event with CAISO having just submitted the EDAM tariff to FERC just a few days ago. And it was also a good opportunity to hear from how stakeholders and regulators in other Western states are thinking about regional wholesale market integration. Participants there emphasized the enormous customer benefits gained through existing regional collaboration and optimism about broader regional market integration going forward, including the creation of EDAM. The participants also expressed urgency in terms of fostering more regional collaboration to address shared challenges such as reliability, energy affordability, and climate change and adaptation. I also wanted to just note that I also had a fellow who has her last week this week. Jillian Anderson is a graduate student at Stanford, and she worked in my office for the summer. We were incredibly lucky and pleased to have her work for us. She was a great addition to my team at working on high DER, community solar, and long-duration storage. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank Jillian for her work in my office, and I hope she enjoyed her time at the CPUC. That concludes commissioner reports. Commissioner reports are the last agenda item, and so with that, this public meeting of the California Utilities Commission is now adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.